Traigo a los gangsters más gangsters de la zona y vengo con la familia gay. ¿Cómo dice? Llaman al rey.
Traigo el mensaje puro y crudo para el momento. No palabras vanas que rompen los sentimientos. Lucharé y derribaré los muros del lamento. Pídeme pues te daré los sueños que están muertos. Nunca el demonio dio mensajes de amor, pero tampoco los dio el ángel que nos abandona. Quizás miremos diferente el reloj, pero tu cielo es el infierno donde el amor murió. Political violence, criminal silence, physical redemption hasta que acabe el baile. Typical style, musical fraile. Mucha es la promesa en la que se han llevado el aire. Love and love and love, siente verdad como doy mi corazón. No more, no more, no more. It's a reggae cypher, feed the world. Reventar el beat, throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? El de reventar el beat, throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
Fue que me brotaron alas y ganas de volar. En las buenas mi terreno lleno, en las malas solar. Un muro que decorar, mis hermanos me sirven de guía, mi estrella polar. Guarda los hilos, me duele hasta respirar. Solo quiero ver verdad. Sigo buscándome lejos de lo que piensas. Más fácil de lo que crees, el esfuerzo trae recompensas. Vale la experiencia si es intensa. No tires de la cuerda si está tensa. Miraban al ocaso con tristeza. Las estrellas devolvían con grandeza su mirar. Nos vimos floreciendo en la maleza. La belleza de las piezas y comienzan a encajar.
El de reventar el beat, throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? El de reventar el beat, throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
51, 52, con un micro de bambú, más vuelta que Passepartout. Me siento en la old school. It's magnetic kung fu, it's a reggae magnatur. Por las almas sonrientes que acompañan a Zazú. En bambalinas y balú, son rimas de menú, no salidas de velour, pero calidad y del sur. Homie, always lonely, but I feeling like a gangsta. 52, 53, a mí sí me ves venir, por eso me llaman King, ese fue mi devenir. De marchar o seguir, nunca tuve que elegir, la music me eligió a mí, no tengo nada más que decir. Saifa, Puniga, Loba, Grimble, Fire, Killer Man, Smoker, Chusta, Feel Light, Rasta, Child Metal, Kimanes, Original Reggae, Saifa again.
Interna en la villa del pingüino, entre los calines en la antena y los que se encuentran dormidos zarandean tus emociones cual barril de vino, cosas feas quizás en tus ideas, pero aquí no, yo no atino, disparo sin mirar a todo aquel vampiro que el diente quiera hincarme, bro. Si lo digo, no es para pensar, sino para aclarar lo que tú siempre estás pensando. Acaba el tan magnífico, imposible de torcer metal, so start my friend. Reggae warriors again, making connection after connection. My new world, creating the freedom from them. Me more,
llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it?
Es de reventar el beat.
Flow the jungle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz
No
de
hace
nuevo
falta
aquí.
presentación si existe nivel. Sobreviviendo en Babilonia escribí al papel mis problemas cuando al final pude entender que para ser feliz solo tienes que querer. Que solamente hay una vida y es para vivir. Busca siempre una alternativa para seguir. No dejes nunca que te digan que no es así. Y prende un poco de sativa para estar chill. Ey, superando ansiedades con el humo de ganja. Manchas de un pasado trágico en la cancha. Seguimos siendo fuertes, su mierda no me engancha. Mientras otros esperando a que lleguen en lancha. No matter where you come, no matter where you come from. Solo importa que prestes atención a este sound. Desde the original, kill a man al mando. Oh, na.
Mira, soy un warrior, sonido legendario. Disfruto cada segundo cuando me subo al escenario. Tengo fuego en los labios, sigo cual mercenario. Pasos de gigante y cora revolucionario. Siento que es necesario, suena el reggae en los barrios. Para que cale el mensaje y para salvar a los más sabios. Entre en mi imaginario, quemo cheques bancarios. Si vienes con la mala vibra, mejor bro, cambia tu itinerario. Ya. Cuando ruge el león suena la música real. Venimos con el ya. Sonido de guiones, el sonido original. Ya. Reggae de corazón es el que se hace en unidad. Ya.
What time is it? Es de reventar el beat. Flow the jungle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it?
Es de reventar el beat.
Flow the jungle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the...
Mexicano bandido, todo el barrio prendido, siempre ando bien cuido, siempre poniendo ruido. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, yo defiendo mi tierra, no me dejo de nadie, yo cuido a los míos, mi raza se aferra. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera, yo la levanto por donde quiera, verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera, el barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera, yo la levanto por donde quiera, verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera, el barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Me voy tendido, me voy empinando mi bote. Un poco mareado por la bebida y el borlote. Me tiene hasta la riata la gente con su mitote. Pero me despreocupo, me pelan todo el garrote. Me para la chota, ya es por mi apariencia. Que hay tanto delito, no cargo nada, no más mi presencia. Pinche puerco joto, atente a las consecuencias. Si no topa el boy en breve nos para en la calle. No puede salir uno conmigo porque ya hay detalle. No quiere que conteste, quiere que yo solo calle. Quiere mi dinero pero que chinga su madre. A la dica este sistema nos quieren ver abajo. Pero tumbar gente, quien les dijo que es trabajo. Puro chingar al indio, váyanse mucho al carajo. Loco no me rajo, lo bueno porque
se armó la alianza más pesada del país. Todo el mundo ya conoce las rimas de estos MCs. Pa' ponerme más feliz, unos paisas de hachís. Mis paisas en el gabacho, bien truchas con la polis. Loco en Guanajuato, con los ojos bien tumbados. De coto con el quesada, rifando por todos lados. Atento si prendo un blunt en cabina cuando grabo. Represento Nuevo León, junto a mi carnal el Davo. Cuando voy pa' Jalisco, el pasado está olvidado. Con el perro de la C, bien grifo, pedo y enfiestado. Chécate mi banderón, unido como había soñado. Bien bajado ese balón, compa lefty bien bajado. Puro hip hop mexa, hasta que amanezca. Pásenme un mezcal y que no se apague la yesca. Ya saben que aquí andamos pilas pa' lo que se ofrezca. Si escribo estas rimas es pa' que se enorgullezca.
verde marihuana, blanca cocaína, roja la sangre que escurre de una nueva herida. Yo salí de la ruina, nunca se me olvida. Con disciplina y respeto sigo en siempre la movida. Ando bien high, la vida es un freestyle. Disfruta lo que hay, vivo entre el bien y el mal, carnal. Crazy life todo el día, viendo live. Pinto tu barda con spray, lo que canto es real. Azules y rojas las sirenas que me persiguen. No suben pa' la virgen, salen todos cuando chifle. Mi barrio no lo pisen, que andamos todos grises. Maldito policía, no quiero que me revises. Prende la mota en canala o en hitter. Ando con mi flota y el dealer. Tenemos lo que se te ofrezca, tú nada más pide. Me dijo mi madre que de la envidia me cuide.
Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera.
Ya, ábranse cabrones, llegó el mexicano partiendo sin necesidad de palanca. Todos jugamos en la misma liga, yo soy titular, tú ves desde la banca. Disfruto cada cosa que me pasa, colaboro y mi carrera se levanta. El mismo cabrón que antes no tenía nada, se la pasa viajando y dice que canta. Por eso me caga enfermarme de la garganta. Pero aguanta, traigo mata natural y humo de planta. 2, 3 cabrones dando lata y yo haciendo más plata. De esto la vida se trata y pa' que sepas no es barata. MC Davo los desbarata con cada escalón que sube. Yo tuve la suerte de hacerme fama en YouTube. Hay 2, 3 raperos de antaño que me bajé de su nube. Los mandé pa' su casa y de premio hasta les pagué el Uber. Si alguien me tira es porque sabe bien que domino el negocio y quiere de mi parte. No quiero darlas de grande, pero si me tiras la neta me toca humillarte. Soy capitán, llevo el estandarte. Somos muy pocos los que hacemos arte. Este flow si es de Marte, tú dale like y comparte.
México lindo y bandido, diario a Diosito le pido que me cuide a la familia si un día el cora ya no late. Estoy bendecido porque me cuidan los míos. Orgullosamente me exatamos locos de remate. Jaque mate, no hable de volar si viene gateando. La cosa por la frontera se pone violenta, no importa el rango. Toda la raza jalándole duro, si hay algo seguro es la muerte en donde ando. Sudor y la sangre en la frente, los de alzada controlando. Se roban la atención, ya saben quiénes son. Vatos locos con sazón como el de un corridón. No quiera tomarme el pelo si ando todo pelón. Levantando la bandera, viva México cabrón.
Es el perrito de la C. La bandera con un águila, Simón, mi tierra es esta. Me vale si mi piel o si mi acento les molesta. Acá jalan horas extras, nunca duermen la siesta. Están los que van pa'l jale y los que la viven de fiesta. Otros que en el pintón se tatúan de corazón. 3 colores en el pecho, morirían por su nación. Aunque su puto gobierno los puso en la situación de no terminar la escuela y terminar en la prisión. ¡Viva México, ladrones! ¿Qué hubo el expresidente? Ya saben que por mí policías chinguen a 20. Y ahí están mis 20 pa' la cagua. Agua, que es tierra caliente de Chiapas hasta Chihuahua. Wow, 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 yipi yo, yipi yucas. Buenas Montequín, Aguas, Tijuas y San Lucas. San Luis Potosí, Mataulipas, La Puebluca. dime si o no, loco, acá tienen lo que buscas.
Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera. Yo la levanto por donde quiera. Verde, blanco, rojo hasta que muera. El barrio prendido ya quemó afuera.
Puro hip hop mexa, perros, 2023.
Ey yo, ey yo.
Somos la santa carnal.
Los machigones de la plaza.
Oye, DJ donde que los scratches. Desde alzada, mi perro. No saben quién soy o sí. Oye.
El autor viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
¡Viva México, cabrones!
That's right.
A ver, que alguien me explique.
Okay, so here we go, family. All right, here we go. Just trying to fix sound. Appreciate you guys here. We'll see what's up. What up, B Garcia? What up, Warakuya? It's all good, man. This video is recorded. You guys can always come back and watch it. Here's what we got right now. Bam, right there, man, right there. Runs the ruins of Edom or Odom. In case you never heard of that, Odin or Wudan. We're gonna find out today. You see, what I usually do is I look at the so-called nation of people, and then I look at their spirit, and then I chase what they truly believed in. And that's where I want to break this down and show you guys, because some people asked have asked me sincerely, Edomites. Edom. How do we know that they're Edom? How do we know? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, because BHI said it? Or because we can prove it? And is it just because they said so? Or because the Kabbalah said so? Because the Khazarian said so, Sephardic said so, and now BHI said so, so then it's okay? We accept it. We can accept it without studying? No. We have to really dig into it and see if that's who they are. Well, I'm going to show you something, and I think we can confirm it to a certain extent. We're going to go back into their heritage in the Dark Ages, because we do hear a lot about historical Europeans. You know what I'm saying? So, in case you've never heard of this name, Odin, you're going to find out today what that means. Odin, Edom. Now, if you guys have been following and if you do your own studies, you know that every father tends to become what happens? They become idols and they become gods. So I'm going to prove how Edom, Odin, and Wodan, men of the north, is who they are. That includes a variety of people that we talked about in this channel. So, without further ado, let's begin, man. Let's begin. All you 5 wonderful brothers and sisters that are watching, appreciate you here. Let's get going, because all I need is one person. That's it. One person to watch, and that gets me going. Edomites. All right, so let's watch the first video. Let's begin.
You are not just an Edomite in this life. You're an Edomite in the next life. In the next life, you will forever be an Edomite. It's just what the Bible says. You will forever be an Edomite. Just because you're an Edomite in this life doesn't. It means you're going to be an Edomite in the next life. In the next life. In the next life. You will never be an Israelite. I will never be an Israelite. You will never be an Israelite.
What made you start reading this shit?
I wanted to live life how God intended life to be lived. I wanted to humbly be in my place. I humbly accept that I, an Edomite, will either be slaughtered by God's angels or be a slave to the Israelites. And I accept that, and I live my life to the fullest. Because right now, this is our world. We are the wicked. Forever be an Edomite. You are not just an Edomite. Forever be an Edomite.
Here we got it here, family. He will forever be an Edomite. Juan Moa, what up, brother? Saludos, man. Let's see. So, anyways, he's all worried. He found out that he'll never be an Israelite. He will always be an Edomite. Well, I mean, you could if you have a daughter, and she. But you know what I find so funny? That it's the negritos and shit. You know what I mean? The West Africans, the Canaanites, that like to put these videos up and like make Edomites feel all bad and shit. It's like, and then they use Isaiah 14. We're gonna slaughter them. We're gonna bring them into captivity. You motherfuckers gonna be right there with them too. Shut up, man. You guys were right in the picture. Man, what's going on with my sound? Bro, seriously? Oh, here it goes. Hold on. There it goes right there. Sorry, family. You guys are in the picture too, man. It's just funny to me. It's funny to me. I was talking to a brother earlier, actually not talking, I was chatting with him. And I brought up 3 verses. Verse 36, verse 64, and verse 49 in Deuteronomy 28. And the so-called African Americans that love to claim they're Hebrews don't even fit those curses. Not one bit. But yeah, I love to, bash on the Edomites. It's all good, man. I'm having fun with it too. Let's go.
Will I burn just 'cause I'm white? Am I the heathen thou shalt smite? I thought I was safe inside the crowd. Even if I bleed him right, I know I'm safe through faith in Christ. God, am I in need of might? Jacob, I've loved these, I've hated. That means if you look like me, you won't make it. God so loved the world that whosoever except for you need a mercy. If you believe on Jesus Christ, well, I mean, like unless you already know my am I in need of my am I in need?
Excuse me, family. I think that's funny as hell, man. I'm sorry, but I think it's funny. I think it's funny. My sarcasm, not yours. By the way, brothers, in case you don't know, my son's gonna have surgery tomorrow officially. He's been doing pretty bad, to be honest. That's why I've been doing videos late at night, because I've been staying up with him. As you know, he's been talking a certain way about, you know what I mean? So I got to keep an eye on him. So I appreciate you brothers, man, that have put some prayers out for us. I really do. Well, that's why I was doing those videos at night. I still got to work, you know what I mean? But I really don't have the energy to do these in the afternoon. But today I do. Today I do, because it was a due video. So let's move on. Anyways, so let me continue. But again, I thank you, man. In case some of you guys don't know, I have a son that's autistic. He's 23. He lost his eyesight about 3-4 years ago. It's been a battle. It's been difficult. He's got spirits on him, obviously. So, you know, he hurts himself at times. Our job is to make sure that we can make the life comfortable for him, the house surrounding. So it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? That's our battle. That's our war. I mean, obviously, we all have demons that we deal with. You know what I'm saying? Certain things that we have to overcome. But man, it's so hard when there's nothing you can do about your kids. There's nothing you can do. I've never felt so helpless. I was always a hands-on type of dude. You know, I'll fix shit myself. Like, I'll take care of it myself with my hands if I had to. Can't do that with my son. They don't work like that. You gotta be patient and seek the Lord. All I can do is pray. That's really it. Let's continue. I'm glad that we're here. Let's go.
Your engine is not revving up. You know what you need? You need a Holy Ghost.
I play that because it always reminds me of chaos. It always reminds me of chaos. It doesn't stop. So anyways, let me read this real quick. Genesis 36:8. And again, I'm kind of just trying to get going. You know what I mean? I'm trying to warm up into this. And I'm going to show you some videos, and I'm going to read some stuff. And then, I'm going to finish it with some of the examples of how they are, who they are. Even to this day, they still express themselves to be them, who they are. Genesis 36:8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. Now, we read, or in the other classes that we've been at least the ones I've done before, you can see that Edom, Esau, Idumea have a lot in common. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Now, this is from a video that I have with these, which is kind of funny, man, to be honest with you. They love to call them Esau. But I think that they're part of the clan. Let's go.
The golden calf. They worshipped the Vaka. And this was a foreshadow that in the end days, the world would gather and lift up this abomination, this idol, as the idol of the world, the savior of mankind, the redeemer, that they would put their faith in this idol. What would be the odds that after 70% of the world has bowed the knee and allowed themselves to be changed from stones and mortar to brick and slime, and allowed the language of their DNA to change by the idol worship of the Vaka? After 70% of the world has bowed the knee, I want you to see what they bring out in this Birmingham 2022 occult ritual. Are you starting to see how the game is being played on the chessboard of deception? Brothers and sisters, the whole world is a stage. I wanna show you what goes on in my mind, but I don't think you can handle it. If I showed you what goes on in my mind, the visions that I see in the night, I'll show you what goes on in my mind. Are you sure you can handle it? If I showed you what goes on in my mind, the dreams that I see in the night, all the beasts rising with teeth of iron, many people dying while the preacher's lying. I warned about the mark, but they keep denying till they line up, and now the serpent seeds inside them, and now the serpent seeds inside them, and now the serpent seeds inside them. Oh Lord, where's the faithful few that are left? Man, I'm searching just to find them. Are you sure you can handle it? Are you sure you can handle it? Are you sure you can handle it? The dreams that I see in the night.
that's a pretty heavy video right there. In case you don't know, you can always click back in, Guaracuya. I didn't mean to put you on mute. I just wanted to let the sound continue. I don't know if you meant to click on that, but you still have access to that stuff, man. So you know what I mean. Do what you got to do. Anyhow, so it's, if you think about what the scriptures say, and you know, you put the 2 and 2 together, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. A lot of you, well, not a lot of you, but BHI loves to go to Psalms 83 and just focus on Edom. Psalms 83:6. Edom, Edom, Edom. But they don't realize that this devil is working with them and 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 them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. 10 horns. I don't know. Look, I'm not gonna get into that one right now, but all I'm saying is, like, you know, you guys focus on one particular people, but apparently the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Hand of the wicked. So now, who is Edom? What is their history?
I'm a rusty old boat hitch, and I am barely hanging on.
How do they work? Who do they worship? What is their God? You know what I'm saying? Let's find out. We Canaan, and we dug out Canaan. We proved Canaan on a flesh level, and now we proved them on a spiritual level. So now we're gonna prove Edom. We, you know, I talk about him on a flesh level. Now let's prove him on a spiritual level, because this is who they are. Make no mistake about it. In case you don't know, Edom, Odin, Wudan, Baal, all of that, like what he talked about right here, it's all connected. It all correlates with each other. Freemasonry, it's all in there. I want to show you today. Let's continue. You know me, man, in this class, I don't mess around, man. I bring you guys some raw stuff, and then it's up to you to chew on it, break it down, filter it, and move on. Let's go.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Mythos, the Historian. Because many people have asked me to create a video about Odin, it's time to talk a little about the supreme god in Norse mythology. Odin is the most important god in Norse mythology, the father of all gods and the ruler of the land of Asgard. Together with his brothers Vili and Ve, he built the universe from the corpse of the primordial giant Ymir. He lived in Asgard with his wife Frigg and all the other gods he ruled. His role, like many of the Norse gods, is complex. Odin is a major member of the Aesir, the major group of the northern pantheon, and he is associated with war, battle, victory and death, but also wisdom, shamanism, magic, poetry, prophecy and hunting. Let's talk a little about the large family of the god. With his current wife Frigg, he had 2 sons, Balder and Hod. Balder is best known for the fact that his death marks the beginning of the end of the world. And Hod is best known for being blind and for being the murderer of his brother Balder, whom he killed by mistake. Odin had a love affair with the giantess Jord. The product of this love was Thor, the god of thunder and storm, the most famous of his sons and all gods of Norse mythology. One day, Odin was walking along the seashore. He came across 9 beautiful ladies who were the giantesses falling asleep on the beach. They were actually the sea maidens. Odin was so impressed and indulged in the beauty of the 9 maidens that he decided to marry them on the spot. This gave birth to the beautiful god Heimdall, who later became the watchman of Asgard. Odin had a child with the giantess Grid. His name was Vidar. He had immeasurable power, probably even greater than Thor's, but no one knew of his power because he spent all the time in his garden taking care of his plants without being noticeable. He had a love affair with Rinda as well. She was recognized in Norse mythology as a giant female, but also as a goddess, and sometimes as a mortal princess. From their seed emerged Vali, the god of revenge and family. Odin is often linked to Sleipnir, his 8-legged magic horse given by Loki, and to Gungnir, the spear that always reaches its target. In Asgard, he lives in the Great Gladtime Hall, where he rules and takes the most important decisions for the realms. Here he sits on the throne of Hirdskjelf, from where he sees the entire earth. Another residence is Valhalla, a golden hall with 540 gates, lined with shields and spears, where the fallen heroes called Einherjar gather along with the Valkyries and await the last battle, Ragnarok. The Valkyries were maidens who served the god Odin, sent by him to the battlefields to choose the slain who were worthy of a place in Valhalla. The god also had different objects and animals that helped him to rule the other gods. Odin preserved the head of Mima, who could see the future, a magic gold ring called Draupnir, which had the ability to multiply itself. Every 9th night, 8 new rings drip from Draupnir, each one of the same size and weight as the original. The god also had 2 crows, Hugin and Munin, namely thought and memory, but also 2 wolves, Geri and Freki. The 2 crows do not only have the role of a pet, but they tell the god absolutely everything that happens in the world. Odin is at the same time a god of the dead and war. He magically protects the great heroes, but in the end betrays them so that they are killed by their opponents. The explanation for this behaviour is the desire to have with him in Valhalla the greatest heroes, to be helped by them on the day of Ragnarok, in the final battle against the giants, and Valhalla received only the souls of those who died heroically on the battlefield. On the apocalyptic day of Ragnarok, Odin will be torn apart and devoured by the giant wolf Fenrir, but he will be avenged by his youngest son, Vidar, the one I told you about earlier that had incredible power. What is your opinion of Odin?
All right, so in case you guys don't know, if you're not familiar with Avengers, the story of Thor is exactly that right there. Asgard, Loki, the 8-legged horse, Odin, his father. You guys got to watch that. It's all correlating. Now, again, I'm trying to set it up. As you know how I work, be patient. I see some people leave. Listen, if you're new to this channel and you come here and you expect something and you want a quick answer and then you're dumb. I am this is like a brother said, I don't do classes. I do seminars. This is a seminarial class type of deal, all right? So don't expect to be here 5 minutes and get a fucking answer. You're going to have to be here a while to understand the bigger picture. But a lot of you are dumb, young, and just full of that other translation or, rhyme, and don't have patience. Be patient. The answers will come. Now let's get into a little bit more more specific, because he said a lot of different things and it all matters. All right, so let's listen into it again, but this is short. All right, so check it out.
All-Father with ravens, wolves, and spear, Odin rules Asgard's throne. Seeker of wisdom, shaper of fate, a god of vast influence. If you're a king of gods, they'll call you Odin. Follow for 15-second history. One-eyed All-Father with ravens, wolves, and spear, Odin rules Asgard's throne. Seeker of wisdom, shaper of fate, a god of vast influence. If you're a king of gods, they'll call you Odin. Follow for 15-second history. One-eyed All-Father.
One-eyed All-Father. One-eyed All-Father. Okay? So now, if you guys remember, at the end, he was talking about Valhalla. Valhalla. I'm sure you never heard of that. Well, I'm going to tell you. What up, ETC? Valhalla. And again, if you've been watching this channel, I did a class on the 13th tribe, meaning the book, and how it relates to the movie, The 13th Warrior. This writer of the 13th tribe was trying to prove that they were the real people of the book, the Khazars. Well, he found out where the Khazars come from. Men of the north, the Urs and the north of the Turks and the Crimeans and all of that shit, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now, I find it so interesting because as I'm trying to do this study for this particular class, it just kind of started working itself out. All of a sudden, I hear this Valhalla. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I've heard that before. I asked my daughter, you heard of this word? She's like, no. And she's into the Avengers stuff, Well, it is part of it, but because not because of the Avengers, was because of the movie of the 13th Warrior. So now we see here the word Valhalla. And it says Valhalla, pronounced Valhalla. Old Norse, Valhall, the hall of the fallen. We understand that, Edom is in a desolate place, but he will be built and be among the stars, right? Okay, so the roof of the gold bright Valhalla is made of shields and has spears for its rather. Seats made of breastplates surrounding the many feasting tables of vast halls. Its gates are guarded by wolves, and eagles fly above it. Interesting. In case you guys don't know, Remus and Romulus and Remus were Roman children that were supposedly adopted by a she-wolf, and she fed them. And yet he calls them two wolves that he had as sons. Interesting. The dead who reside in Valhalla, the Einharjar, or Heidman, that's where it comes from, by the way. All day long, they fight one another. So you guys can look into this if you want. To Valkyrie. It's from the movie called The Saints. The actor. Anyways, that was a side point, my bad. So we see here this Valhalla. Located where? The most famous description of Valhalla is Old Norse literature. Portrays it as being located in Asgard, God's celestial fortress. So men of the north. Danish historian Saxon's Grammaticus describes a hero discovering just such a plate in the underworld. Valhalla, right? So we're like, okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. So then I kind of wonder sometimes how these guys here claim that Edom is not them.
In the Zohar.
See, they claim that Edom is not them, but I'm like, I keep finding Edom, that's you. But let's continue. Again, I found it in the book that I showed you guys before, and I'm going to show it today too. Remember, we're trying to connect dots. Don't let someone else tell you who they are. I've had people ask me, do you think they're them? Based on my history, I think a good portion of them are. And their actions speak louder than their words. They can say, like the scriptures say, trust not the enemy, because just like as iron rusted, so is he. Right? Okay, let's continue.
You will find there an extraordinary information. There will be two big buildings in the land of Edom, which today we relate the word Edom to America. And those are the biggest, the tallest buildings in the world. And they will be brought down completely. And that will be the sign of the beginning of tremendous wars that will end only in the coming of the Mashiach. 1 week before, one of the great rabbis in Israel, a Hasidic rabbi, he came with some people, some of his disciples in the car, and they were coming towards the evening. He didn't want to lose the time of mincha, the prayer of the afternoon. He said, please, can you stop right here? I want to daven, I want to pray mincha here. They prayed mincha with minyan in front of everybody passing in Manhattan. Where? Right there, near the World Center. After he finished the davening, the prayer, he said, say bye-bye to those buildings because you are not going to see them no more. Say bye-bye to those buildings because you are not going to see them no more. אחד ואחד, כמו שאותו יימח שמו, אותו אחד מייסד הנצרות, אותו אחד מה שקורה איתו למעלה, עכשיו נמות הגמרא בדית מיוזל, נמות שם הגמרא, דנים אותו בצואה רותחת, חבילה של צואה, של פסולת שיוצא מהקיבה של בני האדם, וחתולים וכלבים ואריות ונמרים, רותחת, מבעבעת, שם שמים אותו, שם הוא נענש כרקור רגע. זה ככה, וזה לא הבאתם, כל הכנסיות, כל הצלבים שלהם, הצלב הגדול הזה על הארו בברזיל, מתפוצץ לרסיסים, לכל העולם, וכולם יראו את זה, כולם יראו את זה.
vous allez le payer très cher, les Européens. Mais à un point, vous n'avez même pas notion de quoi on parle. Et vous n'aurez pas où fuir. Quand l'Italie disparaîtra, quand Edom, c'est pour ça que le QG de la chrétienté qui vient de Esav se trouve là-bas, quand cet endroit-là disparaîtra, et c'est ce que veut faire l'islam, il s'occupe. L'islam, c'est le balai d'Israël, sachez-le. C'est-à-dire que au lieu qu'on fasse tout le travail, et on voit Ishmaël pour régler le problème. Quand il va débarrasser tout ça et que le va revenir chez nous, alors c'est Meshiacha Mashiach.
Cette guerre-là, dans le monde dans lequel on vit, elle est nécessaire. Et pourquoi est-ce qu'elle est nécessaire? Parce que l'un va utiliser l'autre. Pour ne pas qu'Israël rentre en guerre, Akadosh Baruch Hu Shtabar Shemolahad, dit le Chafetz Chaim, va provoquer que Ishmaël se lève contre Esav. Donc ce que vous êtes en train de subir en France, en Europe, qui fait tellement peur, ça devrait être pour nous la plus belle nouvelle de notre histoire juive. Enfin, on commence à s'y approcher. Enfin, on commence à réaliser ce que les sages nous avaient prescrit avant. Ce que je vous ai dit tout à l'heure, c'est marqué dans Sanhedrin. Le Mashiach viendra que quand Edom, l'Europe, la chrétienté sera totalement tombée. Donc je vous pose la question, c'est une bonne nouvelle que l'islam envahisse l'Europe? C'est une excellente nouvelle, ça annonce l'envie de Mashiach.
De grandes hécatombes se prépareront dans le pays d'Édom, Rome. C'est un jour de vengeance pour l'Éternel, une année de représailles pour la cause de Tzion. Tout ça c'est marqué dans le prophète Ishaïa.
Et ce sera le monde juif qui va grandir, et que ce sera la nation qui elle va gérer le monde. La terre d'Israël, Akadosh Baruch Hu, il va l'attirer, le monde entier, ça sera Israël. Et Israël, ça sera Yerushalayim. Et la seule personne qui va dominer dans le monde, ça sera Be'ezrat Hashem, avec le Mashiach, cette pierre qui elle va grandir, ça sera le peuple d'Israël.
To wipe out from among all the descendants of Esav, descendants of Amalek, male and female, young and old. And that is why Amalek is so terrible, and it has to be totally uprooted. Therefore, God tells us we should erase their memory, and we should eradicate them from the face of the earth. Who is Amalek? Amalek comes from Esav. Esav was a brother to Jacob.
Esav, who in modern day terms is really basically, certainly one of them is America. Esav became Edom, which is a nation. Edom became Rome. Instead of it being Rome, it became Christianity. Christianity, of course, ultimately became Western civilization. So Esav today is really Western civilization.
But the new Rome, the United States, the new Rome.
Esav is Europe. The United States.
The throne of God is incomplete until we destroy Amalek.
Any nation that has that religion can be considered Esav.
The audacity, the chutzpah, to destroy Amalek and to cut off the offsprings of the nation of Amalek.
So you guys heard it from the dirty, stinking, fake-ass Jews that we should destroy them. Right? That's what he said. Got to get rid of Esau. So, hey, fake Jews, when we start whooping your ass, don't complain. You know what I mean? Because it's funny that you guys are effing converts. Everybody knows it now. Stop lying. There's just no way to deny it. Matter of fact, what is his name? Tom Chomsky or whatever his name is. He's like, well, based in this society, I'm a Jew. No matter what you guys say, it doesn't change that. Even in my parents' world, Khazar, so what? I'm still a Jew because society said so. Fake ass fools. I'm going to show you something real quick. Because, you know, that book that I showed you, right? Remember the book, The 13th Tribes? It was actually shown in the movie called The 13th Warrior. And in that movie, it's talking about even Fahalam, even Hamid, even Marshal, whatever his name is, right? And he's going over to try to convert these people, just like in the stories that I showed you guys. And there's actually an actual conversion going on, okay? But I want you to check this out, because here is where it gets interesting. So this is the same movie right here, The 13th Warrior. So again, Khazars, stop lying to yourselves. You are part of that group. You are just like them. You said European. Well, you fuckers are from Europe, and you're not from Israel. You're our converts. It's stated. It's documented. You damn came from the Urgs or Uggs, whatever they call that thing. He converted y'all. Why are you guys lying? I mean, it's like, dude, just get over it. So many people lie about their heritage, and none of you guys are even those people. Media money may help you. Reality is, when you look at that place over there, they allow the alphabet team to have the biggest parade ever in the world. Those are the people of the book. Those stinking fake Jews. The ones that bite people in the privates. The ones that study the Talmud, Mishnah, Zohar, and say in the background, destroy EDOM. The one that the orange orangutan is part of, married to, then claims it's not part of and not married to. Come on, man, let's continue, bro. Let's listen in. To bring you up to the scene here. This is at the end of the movie, okay? So these cave people, they're about to go to war with them for the last time. All right, so in case you've never seen the movie, this guy, you know, they look for them, whatever, all that. And these people, they worship a woman. Okay, so now she ends up fighting the guy, and she pokes him with poison, so he's slowly dying. Right? Yeah, it is. Israel is the #1 country in the world for underage sex. Damn. It's also a country where they allow pedophiles to stay there. Those are facts. Now, you alphabet people can claim whatever you want to claim, but you're not going to bring that pedophile shit into the picture. Quite frankly, look, this is my opinion. If you're a man and you're gay and you're 20, you're telling me that you never would ever look at a young boy, 14, 15, 16? If you yourself, I'm just saying from what I know, because I have a brother that's like that, if you yourself wants to look young like them, what you want me to do? Stop thinking stupid? Or should I start thinking smart? It's kind of, what do you call it? Oxymoron, huh? Let's go. So again, I'm pausing because I don't want him to block me. So again, men of the north, right? So let's get to the point. Watch this real quick. So then he sees this guy. They're getting ready for war. Okay, so here's the part. Listen to what he's saying. Lo, there do I see my father. Listen to him.
Lo, there do I see my mother and my sisters and my brothers. Lo, there do I see the line of my people. Back to the beginning.
No, they do call to me. They bid me take my place among them.
In the halls of Valhalla. In the halls of Valhalla. In the halls of Valhalla.
You hear that? You hear that right there? In the halls of Valhalla. They're like, whoa, hold on a second here. Hold on a second here. So you're trying to prove that you're the people, and you find out that you're not, that you're Europeans. They make a movie about it. And then in the same movie, now we hear something about Valhalla. Edom, Idumea, Greeks. Through you people, lots of chaos happened. And because of you, there is chaos. Let's go to this page right here. Let me see if we close this quick. This is from Ethnic Relations and Migrations in the Ancient World. Okay. Idumea, Josephus on the Edomites' origins and relations with Judeans. Okay, so we see that Judean antiquities against Apion. And by the way, this is where Josephus debunks that Hyksos shit. Don't believe that stuff, I mean, that's bullshit. Manitos, I don't know what he was writing. Josephus cleared it up. But anyways, let's continue. That's not the point. So we see here, on the other hand, building on his main origin story with Jacob and Esau. Various narratives, some building on biblical counts, emphasize the close relationship and common descent shared by both Idumeans, or Edomites, as descendants of Esau, and Judeans. Frequently, either Josephus or characters in his history refer to this close relationship as membership in a common kin group, really. Including the characters like the high priest and the Idumeans themselves in a crucial moment leading to an all-out war. So here, it actually shows how, I think it's in this one. On the other hand, Idumeans are presented as quite out of control, unpredictable, rebellious, and even thoroughly blood-stained and savage, particularly though not solely in connection with their role in supporting the struggle against Rome and the Romanian-Judean War. In fact, when Josephus enumerates who was most to blame for horrendous behaviors leading to Roman intervention and ultimately the destruction of the temple, Idumeans were worse than Sakari. Oh! No wonder y'all named yourself that stupid name. Sakari. It's your bald eagle and your white boy as a leader. Daggerman. And only a little less bad than the wicked people that Josephus calls zealots or enthusiasts or emulators and some bandits. So as we can see, there is an idiot here. While Hyrcanus I successfully has the Idumeans adopt or renew Judean ancestral customs among the Idumeans, the Idumean king Costoborus reverses any advance on his front and heads into the other direction because he's not a so-called Hebrew. His father is an Idumean. That's why you have to check the spirit. The Roman client King Herod, who is characterized as half Judean and half Idumean, meaning the mom is the Judean and the dad is Idumean, is also guilty of leading himself and others away from Judean ancestral customs, according to Josephus. That's where we get the Talmud, and the Zohar, and the Mishnah. That's where it all comes from. The Babylonian, Zoroastrian beliefs. That's where it comes from. This is deeper than you guys even really understand. You should study more. So it says here, let's see. But one such citation does briefly deal with the difference between Judeans and Idumeans in connection with Hyrcanus' subjection. Beyond that, are fortunate to gain momentary glimpse into Idumean groups living abroad in Egypt from epigraphic or papyrological evidence, on which goes to this link. Okay, so you guys can see that. But we're seeing here that Idumea, Edom, Idumea, you know what I mean? One and the same. So we see origins of Edom, Idumea, Amalekites. Okay? We're seeing these things here, right? Okay. Confrontation between the armies of Moses and the king of Idumea, avoided. The tribe of Judah allocated territory of Idumea for Joshua after the careful measurement of the land. Saul conquers the Idumeans along with other people. David conquers and collects tribute from Idumeans. Idumeans included in a negative evaluation of Solomon's foreign marriage. So apparently Solomon married one of these girls too. Okay. So we see here, let me continue going. Idumean revolt. So there's some type of mingling involved with these people, right? Again, they are the brother. So then now here's where it gets really interesting here. Hyrcanus won the circumcision of Idumeans in identification as Judeans. As soon as he heard about the death of Antiochus, actually Demetrius II died 125 BC, Hyrcanus the first marched out against the cities of Syria, thinking he would find them empty of fighting men and anyone able to deliver them, as in fact was the case. And he captured Madaba, old Moabite city under Nabatean control, now Jordan. So he was, how can I say, covetous. He wanted more. So as he wanted more, he opened his doors for other people. That people lived near the temple built after the model of sanctuary of Jerusalem, which Alexander permitted their governor Sanballat to build. Let me continue. Hyrcanus also captured the Idumean city of Adoro, Marisa, hold on a second, Antipas and the Antipater, family of Herod, as Idumeans. I showed you that class the other day. If you followed, you should know where we're going with this. Herod as half Idumean and questions of legitimacy of potential kingship. She changes, huh? Here, right here. Costa Boers, the Idumean diverts from Judean customs and alliance to Herod. An allegiance to Herod. So this guy here, the Idumean, diverts even more in alliance with the Herodians. Costa Boers was an Idumean descent and was one of those first in rank among them. His ancestors had been priests of Kaz. Kaz, pay attention to what that is. Whom the Idumeans believed to be a god. So the Idumeans believe that Kaz is a god. Well, do you know that Kaz is actually relatively close to chaos? In case you didn't know. Yes, Kaz is technically chaos. In case you didn't know. Whom the Idumeans believed to be a god. Now, Hyrcanus, the sellout, had altered their way of life and made them adopt the custom and laws of Judeans. When Herod took over royal power, he appointed Costa Boers, governor of Idumea in Gaza, and gave him his sister Salome in marriage, after putting to death Joseph, her former husband, as we have related. Now Costa Boers gladly received these favors, which were more than he had expected. So now we see Costa Boers himself said that he was ready to transfer his loyalty to her. He did not because he was especially pleased to be under Cleopatra's rule, but because he thought that if Herod were deprived of the greater part of his power, it would seem a simple matter for him to become ruler of Idumea, descent group, and to achieve greater things. See this? Let's finish it up. However, the request of his sister and mother, Herod, let him go and granted him a pardon, but from that time on, he always regarded him as a suspect because of what he had attempted. So I guess he was trying to overcome Herod. Now, you're thinking, man, well, what does all that's got to do with... You'll see. You'll see. You are going to find out right now something very interesting. I found this link here, and I thought it was very cool to share. Esau Today, Hebrew Nation. Follow me here, because this is going to get interesting. I'm going to start connecting the dots. Who are the Edomites, descendants of Esau, and where are they today? Right? This guy right here, he's the one that wrote the book, The 12 Tribes of Israel Are Europeans. Fucking idiots. Y'all are dumb. Anyway, so let's continue. The name Edom is a Hebrew name for red. Means red, I'm sorry. Edom, also known as Esau. He was the twin brother of Jacob and his mortal enemy. Right? So we know this stuff. It's good. We know Genesis 27:38 about the blessings. Okay? Oh, Father, please give me something. Crybaby mofos. Job came from the land of Uz, so he thinks that Job may be Edomite. I never heard. Then it says here, rejoice and gloat, daughter of Edom. I'm sorry, Lamentations 4. Rejoice and gloat, daughter of Edom, dwelling in the land of Uz. The cup will pass the land of Uz. The Uz. Remember the movie? The 13th Warriors? I mentioned them. The cup will pass to you as well, and you shall be drunk and strip yourself naked. And that's what we're finding out now. Check this out. Obadiah, I will surely make you least among the heathen, and you shall be utterly despised. Don't people hate these Israelis? These fake Jews? These dirty stinking Khazars? These wannabe Hebrews, Israelites? The ones that claim to be the people of the Bible but are so horrific, that are in Palestine killing babies, children, mothers, supposedly because they're at war. By the way, mind you, those people do not have machine guns and shit that they can shoot them back. You, the people of the book, and you let the alphabet team completely run for like a whole month of that heathenish parade where they have all kinds of colors and, you know, they deal with each other even though they're the same sex. I don't agree with that stuff. I'm sorry. I don't agree with it. What do you want me to do? If I did, I wouldn't have a problem, but I don't agree with that. So, in case you forgot, America is a land of freedom of speech, so they call it. Apparently, we're not getting really freedom of speech because the moment you mention them in a very direct way, they want to block your ass. They even want to get in boxing with this stuff. It's stupid. It's dumb. Anyways, let's continue. The sage says this referred to the Roman emperors who allowed themselves to be serviced by women. I mean, let's listen to this. Okay, I will surely make you least among the heathens. You shall be utterly despised. The sage said this referred to the Roman emperors who allowed themselves to be serviced as if they were women. An example was Catamites. Adolf Hitler also had been such a person. Adolf Hitler was also a fake Jew. He called himself a Jew. You know, the Khazars, Russian, Romans, Polish, all those fake mofos, all of them, all those converts. You're all converts. You're going to have to swallow the pill. It is what it is. Adolf Hitler had also been such a person. Now, in case you don't know what a catamite is, let's find out what a catamite is. A catamite is a boy kept by a pederast.
Catamite. Catamite.
You're like, well, what the hell does a pederast mean? Okay, a pederasty. It says it's a sexual relationship between an adult man and a boy. It was socially acknowledged practice in ancient Greece and Rome. White America. You have to live with it. This is who you guys are. I know you want to pass laws, Republicans, and say F Democrats because y'all are too effeminate. But this is who you guys are. You are back here again. Every 500 years, we see this wicked ass shit again all the time. And it happens to be by you guys. Yes, you Anglos. I don't understand why you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. This is your bloodline. In most countries today, a local age of consent determines whether a person is considered legally competent to have sexual acts, which it should be that way. Whether such contact in child sexual abuse or statutory rape. You see this? But here, these people didn't give a damn. An adult engaging in sexual activities with a minor is considered abusive by authorities for a variety of reasons. Well, hello, of course it is. Including the age of minors and the psychological and physical harm they may endure. Well, I don't know if you guys really care about it, but you're sure still telling people to read certain books at a certain age that could psychologically harm them. But let's continue because we're trying to understand what the hell does this word mean. Catamites. Pederasty derives from the combination of ancient Greeks, child boy, lover, was borrowed in the 16th century directly from Plato's classical Greek. The word appears in English language during the Renaissance in the sense of sexual relations between men and boys. So So now we have a name family for these guys here. Now we got some that are called Mayates, and now we got some that are called Catamites. Mayates, Catamites. Catamites, Mayates. You see how this sexual discovery of these people is so common for them? Let's continue. The Oxford Dictionary defines it as homosexual relations between them. Well, that's what it says. I'm just reading it. The Oxford English Dictionary defines it as a homosexual relation between a man and a boy. Homosexual anal intercourse, usually with a boy or a younger man, as passive partners. So, Catamites, Edomites, right? Mayates, Canaanites. Now we're trying to see who you are. Pederasty in ancient Greece was a social acknowledged romantic relationship between an adult male and a younger male, usually in his teens. This age difference between a socially powerful and socially less powerful partner was characteristics of archaic is Greek. Classical periods in both heterosexual and homosexual relationships. So see, these are the Mayates right here. The influence of pederasty on Greek culture of these periods was so pervasive that it had been called the principal cultural model for free relationships between citizens. Back to America, America, back to America, America. Check this out. Some Greek cities, such as Sparta, pederastic relationships were explicitly accepted. In other locations, such as Athens, laws were eventually enacted to limit such relations, though not explicitly prohibited in instance of them. Why do you think that they're talking about the replacement theory? It's because you white folks are not producing enough. You're having sex with your own kind, like your own sex, and you're not having more babies. So I don't, you can have a small group of these white boys here, or, the ones the far rights and shit. I'm going to show you some of that. And you guys can pass laws and say, do not have abortions. Do not force. They want to pass a law where you can't force women to divorce now, because these white people want to reproduce because they're not reproducing. Well, because you swing the other way. You swing the other way in a very young level, and then you just don't enjoy what you have, even when you have it. So that's on you. But anyways, let's continue. This is even worse. In the writings of Xenophon, that's why they say xenophobia, right? Xenophon of Athens was a Greek military leader, philosopher, and historian born in Athens. At the age of 30, Xenophon was elected as one of the leaders of the retreating Greek mercenaries. So this Xenophon says, or Socrates, a man who sells his favor for a price to anyone who wants to call them a catamite. Look at that picture, fam. I'm not even going to click on it. You can just imagine it. Catamite was a pubescent boy who was the intimate companion of an older male, usually in a pederastic relationship. It was generally a term of an affection and literally means ganamid in Latin, but it was also used as a term to insult indirect. That's boys. These are kids, man. Not grown-ass men having sex with kids, bro. But if anyone forms a love attachment with someone whom they know to be truly good, we regard him as perfectly respectable. In writings of Plato, Socrates considered pederasty as a superior form of love compared to the love of a woman. Each author may have used Socrates as a spokesman for their own viewpoints. The Socratic writings of the two authors were one of the main texts that led to Kenneth Dover, as you can see, right? And Michael Foucault, understanding of pederasty as a matter of debate in ancient Greece. See this? Not really a side point. Not really a side point. Because, we were reading something, right? We were reading something. Sage says, let's go back. Hebrew nation. This referred to Roman emperors who allowed themselves to be serviced as if they were women, as catamites, by boys. Adolf Hitler was also a pedophile. And he was also a Khazar. And he was also a fake Jew. And that's very common to you guys. Right here. Israel is the #1 country in the world for underage sex. Those are facts. You hide pedophiles over there. You can't block my channel from saying the facts. F you, YouTube, if you block my channel for saying facts. And now people will know that you blocked me because of that. Sage, Talmud Megillah 6 also said that Rome and the German nation were Edomites. Woo! Khazars, Edomites. Edomites, Khazars. Khazars, Edomites. Edomites, Khazars. Idumeans, Khazars. Khazars, Idumeans. Crimea, Russia, Poland, all of those people. All of them mix. All of them had Edomite bloodline. It says here, and if they were united, would attempt to destroy the world. Listen, also said that Rome and the German nation were Edomites, and if they were ever united, they would attempt to destroy the world. Well, they did unite. Mussolini attempted to revive the Roman Empire, and he joined himself to Hitler and went forward to try and obliterate humanity. This too is proof of identification of the founders of Rome and part of the German with Edom. In addition, small groups of Edomites in ancient times have helped give rise to China and Japanese civilization. So now you understand this here. Okay, let's continue. Here is my point. Let me just kind of get to my point. Oh, hold on. Let me read this. It's here. From a physical anthropological point of view, the most hairy people in the world are Turks. The early Turks were described by others as red-haired. Later, they were intermixed with other people and largely lost his quality. This is interesting because there are those who identify the Turks with Edom. Nevertheless, even though there may be some Edomites among the Turks, most of them, in our opinion, are descended from another ancestor and not from Esau, which I agree. There is also an Edomite element among the Russians. Oh, there is also an Edomite element among the Russians, he's asking. The name Rus can mean red. See this? Okay, so now here we go. Then here's the point. Historically, Edom settled to the southeast of Judah in Idumea. A portion of them became partly Jewish and helped give rise to Christianity. Many of them became Christians, Abarbanel. Edomites also established enclaves in other nations. We find Edomites in Tyre of the Phoenicians, in Assyria and Babylon, in Urartu, Armenia. Later, Edomites offshoot were also part of Sparta, Macedonia, and among the Sabines and Romans. Check this out. The name Odin means Edom. The name Odin means Edom, or also means Edom. Another name for Odin was Kaz, chaos, which is the same name that was used by Idumeans of Idumea for their national god. Remember I showed you this right here?
One-eyed all-father with ravens, wolves, and spear, Odin rules Asgard's throne. Seeker of wisdom, shaper of fate, a god of vast influence. If you're a king of gods, they'll call you Odin. Follow for 15-second history. One-eyed all-father.
It can't get any better than clear than that. Here we see that the name Odin means Edom. So the father of the white man, the north. You know what I mean? The the Khazars, the Crimeans, the Polish, the British, all of those people in that section. Their father is Odin, the father of chaos, mind you. The father of chaos. So now let me show you this right here, since we're in the topic of the father of chaos. So here we have, again, and I'm using this because it's pretty simple. Kaz, Edomite. Edomite. Kaz. It says also Quaz or chaos was the name of the national god of the Edomites. This is why when I start going into the flesh and then I find your spirit, I find who you are. You're not going to run from me. You're messing with the wrong spirit here. Just like I called out Canaanites. I found your spirit. And now I'm looking for Edomites. And I'm finding your worshiping of devils and demons and who your father is. You are of the father. That's right. The seed of Canaan, the wicked ass people. He was the Idumean structural parallel to Yahweh. Really? You mean Yahoo? The name occurs only twice in the Old Testament. If possible, the allusion and otherwise complicated text in the book of Proverbs is excluded. But the book of Ezra and Nehemiah, or Nehemyahu, as an element in the personal name, Barkos, son of Kaz, sons of chaos, referring to the father of a family, of a clan, perhaps Edomite, Idumean, or temple helper, returning from the Babylonian exile. Outside the Bible, Kaz is frequently invoked in names found on documents recovered from excavations in Elephantine, whereas mixed population of Arab, Jews, and Idumeans. See this? The word Kaz is never used in the old, in its own. I'm sorry, it's never used on its own in the Tanakh. However, it does ambiguously appear twice as an element in a personal name in Ezra 2:53 and Nehemiah 7:55 as Barko, sons of Kaz. Let's look at it real quick. Nehemiah 7:51. Right. The children of Gazan, the children of Uz, the children of Phaseah. What? Did I get the right one? Oh, hello, 55, dude. Why was I looking at 51? My bad. Dialectic. The children of Barkos. The children of Sisera, the children of Tamar, meaning the children of Edom. So now you know when you see the word Barkos, that's Edom. The name Kaz itself means bow. Kaz became identified with Kuza, a pre-Islamic Arab god of weather worshipped by the people of Muzdalifah. Kuza, the archer. So you see this right here, right? And again, you have to understand what this means. Nabatean depiction of the goddess, right? So now we're seeing, holy mother. That's right. I almost forgot. Remember this name? Costaboris or Costabaris, the guy that, was given the position by Herod, and he tried to overcome Herod, and Herod didn't trust him no more. Okay, he's here. Costabaris, one whose name meant cause is mighty. He was an Idumean. Was a native Idumean, descended from the priestly family attached to this cult. Now you understand why they study the Kabbalah. Now you know why the Sephiroth and then the whole concept of Jacob's ladder. The 10 crowns, the 10 powers. You need to look this stuff up. That's why these people teach this stuff. That's why they believe it. That's why Saint Germain is their man. They don't believe in the Bible, bro. Family, dude, these guys are demons, bro. Look at this, saying it right now. That's why, do you see, they have to write about their history. They have to write about their history, because if they don't write about their history, they forget who they are, too. After Herod had placed him in command over, remember, Idumea, Costaboris, supported by Cleopatra, eventually tried to prize the kingdom from Herod, Judea, in order to garner local support for his defecation. Or for his defection, sorry, defecation. Shit. He revived the old cult of Kaz, perhaps to get Idumea ruled population, still attached to the traditional gods, to back him. So these guys, while they were supposedly preaching the Bible, they were still believing in other gods. Now you see why we knew that people back then, they claim to be Israel, but they're not Israel. Even though they say they're all Israel, they're not Israel. Unlike the god of Ammonites or Moabites, the Tanakh refrains from explicitly naming the Edomites Kaz. See this? Did you guys ever know that Edom had a god named Kaz or Odin? I'm sure you guys didn't know. because I didn't even know. So now let me take you to the Freemasonry book. I showed you guys this before. Okay. Now let's take you to Odin. Why is Odin in here? You see what I'm saying? You got to question everything. Baldur or Baldur, the ancient Scandinavian or older German divinity, the hero of one of the most beautiful and interesting of the myths of the Edda, the second son of Odin and Frigga, and the husband of maiden Nanna. So here we get into the history and story about them. It says here, this finally displeased the mischievousness, cunning Loki, the spirit of evil, who, in the form of an old woman, sought out the mother Frigga. Again, the heroic Helmut or Hermother, son of Odin. But it's like, why these names here? You know what I'm saying? These names are here. So you have to wonder, like, is this real? Yeah, look. Frida Frey, blah, 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 blah. Northern mythology, the column or pillar set apart to the goddess Frey in the temple of Uppsala became the pillar of beauty and plenteousness, bro. Fort says in his Antiquities, chapter 27, the three divinities in the North Temple at Uppsala in Denmark, Odin, Thor, and Frey. If they tell you who they are, start believing them. Yeah, they do. They actually do, Brown Ray. Good to have you here, bro. They actually do worship Odin because it's their Greek mythology. It's literally their Greek mythology. Look, I'll show you. I'll show you real quick here. Let me go here. Let me show you some pictures real quick. Look, this is why you have to be mindful of what they're talking about. And you're right. Skinheads worship Odin. Well, here's why. Other names for Nimrod. Now, Nimrod was a Hamitic individual from a Hamitic tribe. That's why Edom and Canaan have always worked together. That's why black and white conquistadors came together. In case you guys are new to this channel, you're going to have to learn the hard way. We don't teach that white people only did shit. They came together, black and white folks. Now, we're talking about like woolly-haired black people, not necessarily. We're talking about swarty, dark-skinned people. When you start digging real deep into the history, then you can start seeing the differentiation between woolly-haired people and non-woolly-haired people. But some believe that story, and now they're going into some other stuff, so that's what we're starting to destroy. So listen to this. Ares, Bacchus, Dionysus, Ares, Hermes, Pluto, Hades, Kronos, Shama, Mars, Cupid, Vulcan. You see all these names. But then it gets interesting. Odin, Wodan, Baal, red, like the heifer. The heifer is red. Check this out. Babylon, confusing once again. We have Baal. Oops, sorry, my bad. We have Baal, Baalal, Baali, Baalim, Moloch, Shemesh, Marduk. You see all those things, right? And to the right, you see the names of them. Ishtar, Ishi, Shing, Venus, Aphrodite, Isis, Astarte. Now you know why Greece has Aphrodites. Well, I mean, they're pedophilites. I'm sure Aphrodites would be good for them too. Here to the left, we see Tammuz, Horus, Osiris, Cupid, the boy Jupiter. You notice this? Rome, Cupid, the boy. Greece, Aphrodites. And you guys complaining about your own ways? Shut up, white folks. This is who you guys are. You brought this shit to us here. You're not from this continent. You brought this stuff to us. This is not part of us. Odin. I'm sorry, where is it at? Odin, where is it at? Oh, Odin, there it goes right here. Odin. Krishna, Vishnu, Zeus, Mithra, Mahat. See this? Odin. Odin somehow, some way, it's kind of involved in the pantheon of these gods. Why? Seriously, why? Odin. And this is where it gets crazy. Okay. Remember the god Kaz or the god Chaos. So this is what they believe in. This is their god. The glory of Ensoft, the supreme and universal soul, the Sephirah. And it's chaos. Organizing chaos. I'm not going to read that. I just want to show you how they maneuver. Chaos is something that they need. Check this out on the bottom. It's just a page that I wanted to read to y'all. Look at this. Because this is happening now, and I'm going to show you. The success of democracy depends upon the quality of its individual elements. If in this element the racial values are high, government will be equal to all the economic, educational, religious, and scientific demands of the time. If, on the contrary, there is a constant and progressive racial degeneracy, like racism, oppression, and all that shit, okay? It is only a question of time when popular self-government will be impossible and will be succeeded by chaos, which we see January 6th, Donald Trump, Republicans, Democrats, they're all going crazy. And finally, a dictatorship. I'm not lying, family. I'm calling it for what I see it. It says here, 3 steps. Well, 4. When there's a constant and progressive racial degeneracy, racism, it is only a question of time when popular self-government, like be respectful to each other, vote, whatever, pass laws, don't jaywalk, so to speak, or trust the government, trust the vote, so to speak, right? Will be impossible and will be succeeded by chaos. Isn't everybody fighting, running into stores, breaking into things, seditious nations? And finally, a dictatorship. Don't they want Donald Trump to be a dictator? I want Donald Trump to be a dictator. Tannin, a sea monster in the Canaanite, Phoenician, and Hebrew mythology, used as a symbol of chaos. No, that's not it. In 1832, Texas was in a state of chaos. Its citizens, Anglo-Texans and Mexican Texans alike. Chaos follows you guys. This is that whole devilish doctrine. But even in this tier right here, look at that right there. The God of Cause. Chaos. We go right here. Drinking. Dionysus, Shiva, Odin, voodoo, and hoodoo.
Isaiah chapter 58.
Part of faith for pagans to do honor. I'm sorry. Part of faith for pagans to do. I'm sorry. Part of faith for pagans to honor pagan gods and ancestors. Okay, yeah, they wrote it wrong. Used to invoke spirits in ritual ceremonial practices. Pagans emphasize drinking in moderation to keep balance of good and evil. Chaos, evil, doing. Luciferian brewing and melting handcraft beer. Wow. And then what do we got on the bottom? Anakin, Antichrist, and Chaos Bringer. I don't know how much more you can get to that, man. It's like it's constantly reminding us of who and what these people are. Now, we see here the Grecians. This is from the dictionary. I'm sorry, I showed you guys before. The Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary, okay? Watch on the bottom what it says. Their civilization, this is talking about, Grecians, okay? Their civilization vanished before the end of the second millennium in a dark age of destruction and invasion occasioned by further waves of wandering tribes, just as the Celts. Roman, Saxon, Danes, Norman ripples of the same folk movement of related people made a succession of construction and destruction of Britain. Out of 4 centuries, listen, out of 4 centuries of chaos, emerged the complex of peoples on an island in the mainland who are called Greeks. So the only way that these people succeed is by bringing chaos. Isn't this what they did when they came here? These Edomites, Idumeans, when they came here, they didn't say, hey, we're converts just like you. We believe in Jesus just like you. The laws are done away with, and faith has embraced us. Here, believe in this Christian doctrine, and you'll be saved. They didn't fucking say that. They came with a sword and said, yo, listen, bow down to this cross or die. That's what they said. Traditions concerning Edomites, 232. Esau's descendants are the subjects of extensive traditions in which the rabbis, with a effrontery at which we should wonder in any other man, have set at defiance all authentic history and accurate chronology. These representations and the fallacy of which will be too obvious to require being pointed out may be briefly compromised under the following heads. First, the descendants of Esau, the sworn enemies of descendants of Jacob, even to the end of the world, were at first a small nation, inhabiting Mount Seir, an adjacent country, the contiguous to the land of Canaan, that they were easily confined within their own limits, as long as the Israelites enjoyed a great and formidable empire in Canaan. But that after the powerful republic of the 12 tribes was destroyed by the Assyrians and Babylonians, they wonderfully increased in numbers and strength, extended their dominion towards the west, spread their colonies far and wide, subjugated Italy, founded Rome and the Roman Empire, at length entirely overturned the Jewish state, which had been restored after the termination of the Babylonian captivity. Herod, we know that. The second temple destroyed by Titus Vespasius, we know that at that time it was Herodians and all the children that became the priests. And that in the present day, professing the religion of Jesus of Nazareth, which they were the first of all nations to embrace. See that? Converts. They hold a dominion over all Europe. Esau detaining the captivity of the brother Jacob, at least as far as regards to the tribe of Judah, till his Messiah ben David shall appear. See this? Let's continue with this here. The house of Esau, the seeds of Edom, and Mount Seir, which all belong to Rome and the Christians, and that faith of Christians at the time will be far more dreadful than that of Mohammedans. Same book. I'm trying to get through it real quick. It says here, Lord of universe, is not enough for your sons what the evil kingdom of Edom, Rome, did to them, that you must also send the kingdom of Ishmael against us? Anonymous says, there will be a great hatred between them and the children of Esau. Who hates you Hispanics the most, bro? Who is trying to get rid of y'all, bro? And they're jumping on the coattail too. Other nations. The name Edom is used by the Talmudists for the Roman Empire, and they apply to Rome every passage of the Bible referring to Edom or Esau. Now, we know that these Khazars are also them. They're trying to hide. You're not going to hide from us, you stinking damn fake-ass Jews. You're not. By far. Look, Edom, white people. See, this is where it gets funny, right? Cush is Ethiopians. Mizraim is Egyptians. Put is North Africans. Canaan, South Africans. So you cover all the east and northern part of Africa. But then when it comes to West Africa, you skip that and you go to South Africa. This is in Spanish. A brother sent it to me. Los nombres del padre Yahu, Ulhei, y de su hijo Yahushua, Moshe Yahu, no se traducen al falso hebreo moderno casaro. No se dejen engañar por los falsos judíos idomitas. Somebody sent me this thing. He says, Edom, your time is up. Thought you want to know the Zionist on a slave ship named Jesus. Damn. Everything is lighting up for the captives. Bill Gates with Rabbi Shirsham, the head of the Jewish extremist end-time cult Chabad Lubavitch. Gates' mother is a Maxwell, related to the Israeli Mossad agent Robert Maxwell, and his daughter, is that from Epstein? Ghislaine, who used child trafficking to blackmail world leaders. Which, oh shit, it is, huh? You damn demons. Let's finish it up. Esau was Edom, signifies red. We know that. This is just extra stuff, fam. Just kind of putting my notes in here. We know Idumea, pertaining to Edom, right? We know that. And it says here, the name used by the Greeks and Romans for the country of Edom. Edom, Esau, Idumea. The Edomite people were a Semitic-speaking tribal group inhabiting the Negev Desert in the Araba Valley of what is now southern Dead Sea and adjacent to Jordan. Let's continue. Let's see if this one says anything that we haven't covered. No, says the same thing. We know Edom, Idumea. Here goes thus at this junction of time, the Edomites were then incorporated with the Jewish nation, and their country was called by the Greeks a Roman Idumea. But the tide turned in favor of the Idumean faction when Julius Caesar made Antipater an Edomite procurator of Judea in 47 BC. When Antipater was killed 4 years later, his son Herod gained power but was rejected by Judahites. Herod shrewdly gained the support of Rome. With the Roman army at his heels, he returned to Palestine, and after 6 months, sieged the place. You can see. So even though they said, "No, we don't want you here," they don't care. Idumea, again, Edom, Edomites, Romans. What else? That's where they are. Well, they were at one point. I'm kind of going fast to show you. Now, here is where it gets interesting. I showed you guys a book. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on a second. Let me just get to it real quick. Okay, so in this book here, this is from that material I had showed you guys before about the Khazars, right? Check this out. On page 187, this is from the Book of the Ages, I think. The god Odin is writing to Valhalla, the home of the gods he ruled, on the 8-legged stallion Sleipnir, just like Thor. The 8-legged horse that Odin rides on when Thor goes and attacks those Icemen. And that's the story. This is the story right here. Let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, that's the book. I'm sorry. That's just the book right here. Here we see another Charlemagne crowned as an emperor in Rome in 800 AD. Set up a great empire. Let's see if this is it. No, this isn't it. Why didn't I take the picture of it? Don't know why I did that. So we see here now, the ancient people of Sweden, Denmark, and Norway were of mixed race, partly blonde and Nordic, partly shorter, brown-skulled, and dark. See, so they were also dark and light-skinned. The nature of their beliefs about the universe is hard to determine because so much of their information comes from the sagas composed towards the end of the Middle Ages. The Prose Edda and Heimskringla, History of Norway. So you see this, right? Look. It talks about, but it seems clear that the early Scandinavians shared the German belief in the world of ash tree, Yggdrasil, whose branches reach the sky and cover the earth. So they are talking about the mistletoe. Okay? The heroic conflict and doom that will come at the end of the world. They also worship the same gods as other Germanic people. Preeminent among the deities was Odin, Wudan, the universal father, highest of the gods, the lord of kings and warriors and poets, supremely wise, but also magically grim and sinister. Thor, the immensely strong blacksmith, whose hammer was the thunderbolt, became the divinity of farmer, peasants, the patron of ordinary people, red-haired and red-bearded, a mighty eater and drinker. See this? This is who they are. Start believing them when they tell you who they are. You see this right here? Early in the history, I believe, the Germanic, oh man, I can't read that. The Germanic something southwards, Goths, Franks, and I took the picture wrong. Oh, here it goes right here, my bad. Early in their history, the Germanic tribes became split following of the southward migration of the Goths, Franks, and others to overrun the territories of the former Western Roman empires, while the Scandinavian tribes remained in the north until the Viking explosion carried them as far as the Greenland. So we see here. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They even have the 6-pointed star back then. The Khazars. Another name that I want to introduce you to is Herodom. Or Her-Edom. It says here that Herodom, they mean to denote Saint Germain. He supposed it to be derived from the medieval Latin word Herodom, signifying a heritage. Remember, he says of our ancestors, our heritage from the halls of Valhalla. Odin, Edom, their god. Herodom. It's from this book right here. Saint Germain. Herodon. You can look it up yourselves. I'm not lying. Rosicrucius the Herod. Herodon, Herod. It's still the same people family. Don't let them lie to you no more. That's got to end. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to end, dude. It's got to end because you know what? When you start looking at how they function, and I showed this video before, and that god of chaos, right? That's why they love this stuff.
If your engine is not revving up, you know what you need? You need a Holy Ghost.
It's called chaos, family. It's called chaos. That's why it's okay for them to be that way. It's crazy stuff, man. All right, let's move on because I'm about to finish. I just wanted to get this point across in case you guys don't know.
By now, you guys don't know.
I don't know if you know about this Project 25. Project 2025, they call it, right? And they're making it seem like it's all about, everybody. It's us against the world, Huck. All right. So you got this stupid ass idiot right here that I already said, when I see your ass, I'm going to kick your ass. And you got this racist ass little crackety crack over here. Listen to what he says. Listen to what she says. Listen to what she says. I think it's here. All right. Watch what she tells him, the idiot. And then I want you to pay attention to a word. I'm going to pause it right after I hear it. Okay, let's go.
Can't say that about them. That's derogatory.
Movement.
and on this question of nationalism and national identity, somebody I've been fascinated by for a long time and have interacted with on social media, but for the first time we're having at least a live form conversation in the offline sense of it. It's Ann Coulter. So Ann, thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
And by the way, when he tries to say conversation, he can't say it right because his mother tongue doesn't allow him to say conversations. So he like conversations, like conversations. You're trying too hard to be white, bro. But anyways, let's continue. Y'all gonna fall anyways. It's all good, man. Have fun right now.
Me too. Thanks for having me. That was a fantastic opening monologue. I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you.
She agrees, but she wouldn't vote for him because of why?
Because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that. And it's directly related to what you were just talking about. You know, the thing about nationalism, you're totally right. It is like to use the word nationalism. Oh, it's Hitler, it's Hitler. And, you know, Hitler had soup. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have soup. Hitler loved dogs. That doesn't mean you shouldn't love dogs. So I think we have to move past this. If Hitler did it, it must be bad. But I do notice when I was listening to your monologue, I don't think I do use the word nationalism. I would use a word you used in your monologue, which I liked quite a bit, and that's citizenship. There's citizenism. How about Americanism?
Yeah.
I'd also point out that the only people who are not allowed to be proud of their ethnic group do tend to be Anglo-Saxons. Oh boy, you can't be proud of being white. Whereas, you know, watch a soccer game and see, you know, it's Venezuela, we're Mexicans. It's funny, Hispanics don't even think of themselves as Hispanics. They think of themselves as the country they're from. I think French feel very proud to be French. We saw Macron expressly objecting wokeness on the grounds that this is an American institution. We're not going to import this. So you do see basically every other ethnic group very proud of their ethnic group. And the thing I'd say about America, okay, no single cuisine, but you can get Chinese food and Mexican food in Paris and Tokyo. Food has definitely migrated across countries. There is a core national identity that is the identity of the WASP, and
That's it right there. This little crackety cracker right here. This little racist, that little bitch right here. I'm gonna call you that for what it is. And all you damn right wing and stupid asses that want to follow this shit, I'm gonna call you guys out right now. I know what this means. When I listened to this several months back, I paused. It's like the WASP. The fuck does that mean?
Their
Listen.
Institution. We're not going to import this. So you do see basically every other ethnic group very proud of their ethnic group. And the thing I'd say about America, okay, no single cuisine, but you can get Chinese food and Mexican food in Paris and Tokyo. Food has definitely migrated across countries. There is a core national identity that is the identity of the WASP. And that doesn't mean we can't take anyone else in, a Sri Lankan or a Japanese or an Indian, but the core around which the nation's values are formed is the WASP.
Okay, so for you dumbasses, or I don't want to say it like that. Let me rephrase it. Matter of fact, I'll start with this angle. The WASP means white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. That's what it means. Okay? That's what it means. That the white people, supposedly they can't be proud. Listen, crackety cracks. You're not in Europe. You guys are fucking forgetting this shit. You are in a continent that you don't belong in. When you want to talk about French and British and saying they want to prevent people from coming to their lands, well, they're where they're supposed to be. You're not crackety crack. Your light-skinned ass that cannot get a tan, and if you do, you get burned by the sun, does not belong here. So this whole concept of WASP, white, what do you mean white? You're German, French, Irish, you don't even know what you are. All of you guys are mutts. So this whole concept of WASP shit gotta end. All right? So now that's 1 point. 2, listen to what she says.
We've never had a president who didn't have at least partial English ancestry. Never. We've only had one Catholic president. There was only one Catholic signatory to the Declaration of Independence. They were all not only Protestants, but pretty much Presbyterian. King George referred to the American Revolution as that Presbyterian War. So there is a lot in the freedom thing. Samuel Huntington of Harvard has written about this in a fantastic book I recommend to everyone, Who Are We? And he describes how, back in colonial times, interestingly enough, for example, Jews could vote, but Catholics couldn't because people thought they would be more loyal to Rome once they became more American Catholic and less Roman Catholic. Then,
in case you don't know, remember Jews and the Moors were first here. Well, she's just touching on that. But let's continue.
They were just, part of us and part of Americans. But you do notice, and he describes why so many countries that have not done very well are dominated by Catholicism. It's much more from the top down. It lends itself to an authoritarian governance, whereas Calvinists, it's between you and God. And moreover, because of the Presbyterian, I think every ethnic group has this, the WASP work ethic. And
you hear what she said? The WASP work ethic, as if you're not a WASP, a white person, you're fucking lazy. Listen, white people, y'all need to just fucking stop, bro. Like, you guys need to just stop. A lot of you guys are on EBT, are on Social Security, are on disability, are on Medicare. A lot of you don't like to work. What the hell is she talking about? The work ethic of the WASP. You mean like when you're born in a silver spoon and you don't got to work that hard and you got all the access to universities or schools because your parents went to those schools and you get some kind of pull and leeway? Is that what you're talking about, crackety crack? Let's continue with this stupid ass WASP bullshit, man.
In Catholic countries, not so much this country because American Catholics have basically become Protestants. And that is this worship of being poor, as if you are closer to God because you're poor. That's not the way to create a on-the-go developing country.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's an interesting tour through that historical lane, but I want to pick on one point you said, which is citizenship, right? Let's talk about what does it mean to be a citizen of a nation. And it's interesting, if a lot of people trip up on this, they'll say, well, it means what you get, right? Do I get to vote or do I get some other claim? Long before women could vote, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not about what you get. In my book, and I think that this is true with the American conception of citizenship, I think it's true with the Roman conception of citizenship, is it's about your loyalty.
True with the Roman conception of citizenship. Perfect. Sounds good. Let's continue, family. Let's continue.
Actually.
Yes.
To whom do you actually pledge loyalty? And so I think you and I share that in common, actually. I don't know, I've never.
Basically what he's saying is, so in order for you to be an American here in America, you got to pledge alliance to the white people. Go with the white movement, pro-white, poor white folks. Y'all suffered so much. Oh my God, it was you because you guys civilized. Bullshit, man. Y'all didn't civilize nothing. You still don't know how to wipe your ass. Women in Europe still are complaining that you guys go into bed with them and you leave your beds full of shit. What have you taught us? Pedophilia, same sex, colors, alphabet team, oppression, sanctions, robbery, breaking treaties, deception. What do you want us to do? What have you taught us? What have you done that's been good? Crackety cracks. Hit the link and show me. Let's continue.
I asked you this, but I assume from seeing the things you said, tell me if I'm right about this, you're probably against the existence of dual citizenship as a concept. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yes. You and I share that in common.
Outrageous.
It's incoherent. It's not just outrageous. It's incoherent. It's oxymoronic. How could you possibly have a loyalty to two different nations where the essence of citizenship is which nation to whom you had your...
Once again, crackety cracks, and this stupid ass over here on the left, you're not from this continent. This was a stolen land, broken treaties. From the moment you took, after the 13 colonies all across the board, nothing have you done legitimate. And now you want to talk fairness and say, well, us white people are foreigners here, but we want the presidents to have some kind of deeper lineage. Well, I find that ironic because you're both are pushing for Donald punk ass Trump, the orangutan, and he's a first generation so-called immigrant, so-called citizen. His father's not from here. What the fuck are you guys talking about? Even in your own mouth, you guys are hypocrites.
Undivided loyalty. That's what the essence of citizenship is all about. So you and I agree on so much there. But where I wouldn't say lose you, but I may fail to fully understand you, is on that axis of citizenship, what does ethnicity have to do with the matter? And I think you would be well served, and maybe this could be a great platform for you to do it, to make the case for why that, what you put it, WASP basis for the American identity.
When you put it WASP basis for American identity, meaning white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, meaning the identity, why does it matter? So he's siding with the crackety cracks. It's okay, bro. You like to bend over for them. That's fine. And some of y'all are mayates. That's the way it is. Let's go. Oh, no. That's not a mayate.
How is that relevant against a backdrop of which you got the WASP, seventh generation descendant of some rich guy on the Upper East Side in Brooklyn that pretends to hate this country because it's the cool thing to do, versus somebody who came here as the kid of immigrants, but pledges loyalty to this country? If loyalty was the axis for citizenship, aren't you actually committing a bit of a sin, reverting back to a conception of citizenship that has nothing to do with loyalty in the first place?
Well, I will say many of those seventh generations WASP I definitely hate. I know we have a lot of really, really bad ones, but like I said, anyone can adopt this. I guess what I just.
So I'm going to stop right there because I'm getting sick of this old ass crackety crack spider here. So she's talking about 7 generations. How the fuck do you get even to the point of generations if you're not from here? Look, if you guys don't know, this Project 2025
Printed like jewelry designer.
It's very interesting. I'm just going to touch on it real briefly and then I'm done. Again, I wasn't going to go scriptural much today. I just wanted to prove this point because, again, I touch on different topics. But this whole 2025 thing, man, listen to what they're saying. The WASP. If you don't believe in their agenda or ideology, then you're not part of the WASP. You see, they want power for them. It's always been that way. So as long as you can assimilate and be white people and be submissive to white people, kind of like BHIs, they say, we're the same people, but you got to shut up, Mexicans. You know what I mean? You can't teach. We can teach because we woolly and black. Just like these guys here. We're the same Americans, but when it comes to, positions of power, you got to have 7 generations of being American. This stupid ass WASP, white crackety crack over here, she forgets that this whole concept of 7 generations. You know how many generations I have before you, you stupid ass pinche plancha? Dude, I don't like that lady, man. I'm sorry. She threw me off. I'm sorry. Let me just shut up now because I'm just going to start cussing. And I don't want to do that. Let's go.
Process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
That was what Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts said last week, which is pretty significant.
We're prepared this time. We're recruiting grassroots conservatives, and we want all of you, if you want to serve in the next White House, next State Department, next Pentagon, we want you to sign up. Tell your sons, tell your daughters, tell all your friends. It's project2025.org.
So, Johnny, okay, you heard that? If you guys want to serve, you've got to get engaged now. You've got to be involved now, because one of the big parts of this is networking. It's not just training people up, but those networks that we do with grassroots organizations, with other organizations. Walk through, tell me what the plan is.
So we're collecting resumes. We're getting as much information as we can now to save the transition time on the back end. As you know, when a president wins, or president-elect wins, things happen very quickly, and you have a short amount of time to staff an entire administration. It's also looking beyond the 4,000 and what we can do with the bureaucracy itself. So we're thinking of creative policy things as well that will integrate with this.
Well, hold it. When we talk about that, let's talk about schedule. I mean, is there going to be a plan in place to start to take apart the administrative state?
There has to be, and yes, there will be. The next president, if President Trump gets back in there, he needs to reorient the government.
November 5th.
Let's check this out. I'm almost done. And by the way, I'm going to show you a video of the last piece of shit, the little goofy ass crackety crack. This guy. This dude does recordings at restaurants and shit, and he talks all kinds of crap. I'm going to show you something that he said. So if illegal immigrants were the ones working in jobs, who were the illegal immigrants working in jobs before they were here? You illegal white immigrants. You fucking wetbacks from Europe. Before you started migrating to the lands that didn't belong to you, you secretly snuck over here.
just like illegal wetbacks, right? We just didn't push on the laws that we should have. We should have deported your white crackery asses out of here, made y'all illegal, put you in cages, and then fed you to dogs. Because that's what you did to us.
Policy things as well that will integrate with this.
Well, hold on. When we talk about
2024, Donald Trump defeats a divided and dispirited Democratic campaign.
Now that is a scary thought, but one that on dictator and his loyalist lackeys could go about dismantling our democracy, our rights, and the American way of life. Welcome back to Really American, folks. I'm Kenny Hess, and though Donald Trump claims he knows nothing about, we all know that is as big a load of BS as was in his diaper in court. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
On January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump is sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Unfortunately, he keeps his promises. Trump seizes control of a divided government, signing hundreds of executive orders implementing Project 2025. Trump replaces over 50,000 civil servants with hardline MAGA loyalists. The federal oath of office now requires declaring loyalty to the president, not the Constitution.
Yeah, a very real threat. Here is Project 2025's mandate for democracy, or in their case, gutting it completely. Just look at this insane questionnaire where they ask if you agree with certain statements to try and weed out the non-Trump loyalists. Statements like, the permanent institutions of family and religion are foundational to American freedom and the common good. We should be proud of our American heritage and history even as we acknowledge our flaws. The president should be able to advance his or her agenda through the bureaucracy without hindrance from unelected federal officials. The federal government should recognize only two unchanging sexes, male and female, as a matter of policy. And the U.S. should impose tariffs with the goal of bringing back manufacturing jobs, even if these tariffs...
This is really the interesting one. The U.S. should impose tariffs with the goal of bringing back manufacturing jobs, even if tariffs result in higher consumer prices. These guys are stupid. What are the prices right now? I mean, if you think about it, you don't dictate the value of everything that's constructed. Like, for example, if you want to put together a toy, a lot of these pieces are made somewhere else. But this is the silliness of it. Let's continue.
Donald Trump orders the Department of Justice to arrest members of the January 6th Commission. Current and grant of total immunity for official acts. Donald Trump orders the Department of Justice to arrest members of the January 6th Commission, current and former DOJ employees, and political opponents for treason, election interference, and conspiracy. He declares it to be an official act. Trump ends birthright citizenship by executive order and turns millions of American-born citizens into illegal aliens overnight. Mass deportations begin. Hundreds of thousands, including legal U.S. residents and American citizens, are imprisoned in newly built camps.
Former President Donald Trump now pledging a sweeping immigration crackdown if he wins the White House again. Among his promises, mass deportations, ending birthright citizenship, and denying entry to legal immigrants based on their ideological beliefs.
Protest.
Did you hear that? So if you don't agree with their thinking, even though you may be a resident, they won't let you. Get out of here, Peter. You're not part of the WASP. You're not part of the WASP. Anyway, let's continue. I'm almost done.
Erupt. Trump addresses the nation from the Oval Office, invoking the Insurrection Act and declaring the protesters a danger to American sovereignty. He orders the National Guard to use deadly force to suppress the protests.
If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
In the wake of the bloody violence, Trump declares nationwide martial law, awarding himself new powers under the freshly signed American Sovereignty Protection Order. which defines protest of immigration policies as non-protected speech and a threat.
Which, by the way, this is not a lie. He's in thinking of implementing, which Stephen Miller had mentioned, the Seditions Act, as well as the Alien Something Act. So the Alien Something Act is where he has all the right to deport whoever he wants. I mean, technically, because they're not quote unquote legal. And the Seditions Act, that he can arrest anybody that disagrees with what the government is doing. So if you criticize it, you're against it, he'll put you in jail. Stephen Miller said that those two laws he will implement, and one of them was used at one point. Be mindful what you're asking for. Yahoo wanted to say, I can't wait for Trump to fucking win so he can wake our people up. You don't even know what you're asking for, you stupid ass. You don't even know what you're asking for.
Threat to national security. Governors in New York, California, Illinois, and elsewhere declare their opposition, promising to refuse compliance in their states. Trump orders their arrests. Trump pardons every January 6 attacker, including those who assaulted the police, and in a White House ceremony issues a new presidential medal honoring them. Many are given jobs in his administration. The Department of Education is renamed the Department of American Values and mandates a nationwide Christian nationalist curriculum for all schools receiving federal aid. Trump, joined by Speaker Mike Johnson and evangelical.
By the way, this actually happened already one time. Woodrow Wilson, he was the president of Princeton. He ordered all educational material to be revamped and retaught. They're doing it again.
The Department of Education is renamed the Department of American Values and mandates a nationwide Christian nationalist curriculum for all schools receiving federal aid.
Made sure not to tease that black folks had helped him with slavery, and he made sure not to tease that natives were the first ones in slavery, and he made sure not to tease that white folks were actually enslaved as well as everybody else. Now they're trying to erase, we didn't even enslave people. First they're saying we didn't get enslaved. Now they're saying we didn't even enslave people. We don't want to talk about it no more. Y'all are stupid, bro, if you ain't waking up.
Trump, joined by Speaker Mike Johnson and evangelical leaders, announces that the Department of Health and Human Services has reclassified mifepristone, making it illegal to distribute or prescribe.
All right, look, we got an idiot here. Wait a minute, so all Mexicans are Hebrews? What, you talking about all Negroes are Hebrews too? Is that what you're saying, Nafka? Okay, why don't you prove it? What are you? First of all, we don't even say that all Mexicans are Hebrews. And second of all, what do you believe, that all Negroes are Hebrews? Is that what you're saying? If you don't know about this channel, you better watch what you're saying, because I've never seen you before. I got almost 500 videos before you continue to open your dumb mouth. Are you one of those BHIs, woolly-haired believers and shit? I hope not. Let's continue.
As well as new HHS regulations that make IVF treatments impossible to legally administer. Trump reverses one campaign promise by declaring a national abortion ban by.
Next thing you know, Asians, Australians, South Americans, when fools and madness stop. Well, I don't know, Nafka, what do you believe in? I don't understand. You come here and say, prove it. I actually do. What does your stupid ass believe in? Kaka, tell me what you believe in. That book doesn't speak on everyone. No, it doesn't speak on everyone. You're right. Well, let me ask you something, Nafka or Kaka. What is your nationality, since you're so, bold for to come over here and make some statements and shit? And if you want, bro, you can hit the link, and I'll talk to you, because I'm about to finish. Hit the link if you really want to know. You don't need to know me. I'm from the land you're claiming you're associates with. You can't show the connection. Which land? What land am I talking about? Kaka, which one? How did you prove it? Why are you so salty? Oh, he's a Negro, family. He's a Negro with woolly hair and shit. He's one of those idiots and shit. There, I'm from East Africa. Ah, so you're a Cushite. So you're a Cushite is what you're saying, right? Ethiopian, right? You believe that Sheba and shit, all that dumbass bullshit? Is that what you're saying? Nah, he ain't gonna hit the link, bro. Look, he says I sound emotional. I don't know. You're here posting. I'm telling you, hit the link. Hit the link and let's see. Let's see if you're real about that shit. Or are you going to dollar or just talk reckless? I don't know. Are you going to prove to us that all Africans are Israelites? Or are you a East African who does not agree with West Africans being Edom Israelites? Because I have an East African brother that I talk to. He's from Ethiopia. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you saying? What kind of East African are you? You see, there he goes. See, he ain't going to hit the link, family. He's just another woolly-haired idiot. Let's go.
Executive order. Challenges to his authority are rejected by the Supreme Court, which has seen new appointments from Trump after it was expanded to 12 justices. He signs an executive order removing abortion records from HIPAA privacy regulations and announces a new federal data sharing program so states can monitor women's periods. Thousands are detained while crossing state lines under suspicion of seeking an abortion. Trump's acting Secretary of Defense, a disgraced ex-general, fires over 400 generals and admirals, leaving the military leaderless. Other Trump appointees purge the ranks of the CIA, FBI, and Department of Justice. By executive order, Trump withdraws the United States from NATO and ends Pentagon cooperation with Ukraine. Russian tanks enter Kyiv.
Hey, look, family, this is how stupid this guy is right here. So we know that you're African American, obviously, or you got some American experience here, the way you talk, even though you say you're from Eastern Egypt. Now you're saying, oh, get your East African brother and I'll debate you both. Like, I'm really going to call him right now and like, hey, man, I got some idiot called Kaka that he says you're light work. Damn, you Canaanites, bro. Like, you guys are really impressive and shit. Y'all are really, really, really fucking impressive. You're a Cushite, man. You're a Cushite. So you from Mexico is more connected than someone from East Africa? I mean, I don't know. There's a good chance. You telling me that everybody in East Africa never got enslaved? They've always been here. Every single individual from East Africa never left that land? Or are you a fucking idiot? Kaka. You telling me that nobody in East Africa ever left those lands? You guys have always been there? Like, so the Nubians never went in there. British never went in there. You know what I'm saying? Like Spaniards, Portuguese never went in there. You guys are all been isolated. Nobody ever fuck with y'all and shit. You know, sometimes I really wish I could actually get somebody that has some kind of brain cells, some type of intellect, you know, where I could really talk to y'all and shit. Like, you know what, man, you got a point. But no, man, you guys come in here, you make dumbass comments. And then I ask you a very sincere question, like, so you East Africans never left that area? And then you just get stuck because you know damn well that that is not possible. There's a lot of migrations that went through that region from east to west, taken in, brought out. Anyways, so you see this guy right here? This is the idiot that we're talking about. All right, so let's listen into this crackety crack right here. Let's go.
Need illegal aliens to do the jobs Americans won't do. Who did all these jobs before we had illegal aliens?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't white European illegal immigrants. I'm pretty sure it wasn't white European illegal immigrants. Did you get that?
I'm sure it wasn't East African illegal immigrants too, like this guy right here. You don't know Africa. You said Nubians didn't go east. Oh yeah, they actually did. You fucking dumb. See, that's how you know you don't even know your history. You don't even know your history. Wow, that's how you know you're connected to those people. This guy, look, listen, family. This guy doesn't even know his own history. He don't know about the wars between those two lands right there, the Egyptians and the Nubians. Pendejo, güey. Wow. Hey, look. Now he's trying to sound like he's Hispanic or some shit. Now he's trying to use Spanish words. Spencer home. Ah, yeah, you're a Negro. Go eat your chillins, bro. Nobody wants you here.
What is an American? An American is a Native American, not a white European. This land belongs to Native Americans.
Not East Africans like this caca over here either. Let's go.
It belongs to people like myself, a Mexican American in the continent of America. That's white supremacy. You want to talk about slavery? Asian slavery? Black slavery? Mexican slavery in the United States of America? Why can't we just be Americans? Why can't we just be human beings trying to live our lives?
We ain't playing that game no more, bro. We ain't playing nice with y'all no more, man. It ain't even about that no more, bro. I know I appreciate you, bro. You know what I mean? I know my gente. We don't like to, go through that shit, but nah, I ain't dealing with that no more. These fools are what they are, bro. This is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Here, I got this short video to watch. I like this brother right here. He took his time, so I want to kind of promote him. He's got some subscribers, Mexican reparations, Internet Mexican. Pretty good information. Let's listen to it real quick. Matter of fact, let me see here. Oh yeah, here. Let me show you this one first, because we got that East African over here. I'm pretty sure he's waiting for reparations too. So let's let him know how it's not going to happen. All right.
At least a $47 billion budget deficit and the nation's highest unemployment rate of at least 5.3%. Governor Gavin Newsom and Democrat leaders announced Saturday that they're going to set aside $12 million of the budget to help the state implement a series of reparations-related bills that lawmakers hope will pass a little later this year. Does it make any sense? Let's welcome to the show Fox News contributor, civil rights attorney, and I believe, if I'm still not wrong, you're a resident still of California. Isn't that right, Leo?
Just until this year, until this election, then I got to leave because it's crazy here, David.
Well, what about this reparations deal? I mean, it's going into debt up to its eyeballs now because of Gavin Newsom's spending and everything else he's doing, driving businesses out. Does it make sense for a reparations bill now?
No, we're $47 billion in the hole, and they set aside $12 million, David, for the Black Legislative Caucus. Why? So they can keep talking about reparations. I want to be very clear to the Fox viewers. California will never issue reparations to Black Americans. Why? We don't deserve it. California was never a slave state. David, there's not a single Black American in California who wakes up and talks to me about reparations. They talk about inflation and the economy and high gas prices. This is talking points to keep the Democrats talking about this so Black can remain with the Democrat Party. It will not work.
Well, and by the way, $12 million is a pittance. The estimates of if it ever did get through some legislator at some point, this could cost up to $800 billion. That's how much money we're talking about. That's way beyond anything that the state could afford, right?
The budget is only $297 billion. So it's almost two and a half times the size of the California budget. It will never happen. Mark my words, save this tape. California will never issue reparation, or that will be the defeat of the Democrat Party in California.
And getting to your point that it's simply not fair when you consider the history of California and what California is now. Here's a state assemblywoman, Kate Sanchez, talking about that. Roll tape.
The majority of our state is Latino and Asian, making up 55% of our population. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this.
You know, the bottom line is the reason you're in
For reparations, my God. From land that's stolen, that you guys helped steal. Anyhow, all right, let's finish it with this, man. This guy did a good report. We touched on this before. I'm gonna speed it up. Subscribe to the brother. I don't know him. I haven't reached out to him. I don't know if he's still doing videos, but maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. But he's got a pretty good. Let's listen in, man.
Hey, I'm glad to see you again. Welcome back to another episode of the Internet Mexican Show. So recently on TikTok, I actually received a comment I thought was really interesting. And the comment was, America was great until Mexicans came here. I find it funny that to this day, there are people who believe that Mexicans are foreigners on these lands. The truth is, though, Mexicans have been here since the beginning. And despite this, Mexicans have faced several attempts of removal by the United States government. The topic for today's video is the Mexican repatriation that occurred between 1929 and 1936. This event resulted in about 2 million Mexicans being deported from the United States back to Mexico, with around 60% of these people being natural-born American citizens. That's right, the United States deported its own citizens because they were of Mexican descent. So in the last video where we talked about La Matanza, we mentioned the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. This treaty was signed at the end of the War of American Intervention, also known as the Mexican-American War. And amongst its many conditions, it granted Mexicans who remained in annexed territories American citizenship. It was also supposed to grant them full civil rights and protect their land rights. And as a result of that treaty, around 80,000 to 100,000 Mexicans were granted U.S. citizenship. However, simply being granted citizenship by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo didn't do much as far as fair treatment of Mexicans that remained in annexed territories. Specifically, since there's always been an active attempt to paint Mexicans as foreigners. Not just foreigners, but foreigners on the lands of their forefathers, our forefathers. And unfortunately, for the most part, it appears that those who would paint us as aliens on these lands have in some way succeeded. Let's get started. Now, Mexican immigration into the United States was not significant until the creation of a railroad network between Mexico and the American Southwest. And as the demand for labor in this country would increase, specifically in the agricultural industry, it actually made it easier for Mexicans to migrate into the United States. And as we mentioned in the Matanza video, Mexican immigration into the United States heavily increased between 1910 and 1920. And this was due to people trying to escape the violence during the Mexican Revolution. And although this increase in Mexican immigration into the United States created a lot of racial tension and unrest, and it also created a lot of anti-Mexican sentiment, Mexican immigration to the United States was also encouraged, specifically by employers who were in need of labor. And these employers would actually hire very aggressive labor recruiters that would go into Mexico and then persuade people to come work in the United States. However, despite the fact that American companies were hiring very aggressive labor recruiters to go down to Mexico and encourage Mexican immigrants to come to the United States, by 1929, we began to see a strong anti-Mexican sentiment throughout the United States. Part of what fuels this racist anti-Mexican sentiment is the start of the Great Depression. Mexicans during the Great Depression are blamed as taking jobs away from Americans, and they're also blamed for supposedly increasing the cost of public assistance. The spokesperson for the Los Angeles Citizens Committee for Coordination of Unemployment Relief, one C.P. Vizel, even wrote to the federal government, "We need their jobs for needy citizens." Ironically, many needy citizens in the West were of Mexican descent. At this point in time where Mexicans were being scapegoated, we even had Congressman Martin Dies going as far as to claim that the large unemployment numbers were to be blamed on immigrants in this country. Groups such as the American Federation of Labor and the National Club of America even urged Americans to pressure the government into mass deporting Mexicans as a way to reduce unemployment. It became very easy at the time to paint Mexicans as the other, and thus making them the blame, making them the scapegoat for a lot of the issues that people in the United States were having during the Great Depression. And since they were being scapegoated for a lot of these issues, it made it easier for the American government and the American people to stand behind the idea of mass deporting Mexicans, of repatriating them to Mexico. However, this would lead to the deportation of people simply for being Mexican or appearing Mexican, regardless of their citizenship status. President Herbert Hoover even went as far as to calling this plan to repatriate Mexicans a program that would create American jobs for real Americans, implying that Mexicans living in the United States weren't real Americans. Now again, the justifications that were made for repatriation were that Mexicans were taking jobs from real Americans and that Mexicans were burdening the public assistance system in the United States, the welfare system. However, it should be noted that modern research on the topic suggests that the economic impact of deportation was negligible. And at times, it was even negative. And this negative impact came from cases where family groups that might not otherwise be eligible for welfare would then become eligible due to the loss of a parent to deportation. This would leave the remaining parent to try to make ends meet, often relying on government assistance. And it should be noted that although Mexicans were being blamed for overwhelming the American welfare system during the Great Depression, Mexicans actually only made up less than 10% of the recipients across the country. If repatriation had limited effect, and in some cases a negative effect on the American economy, then what fueled the move towards repatriating Mexicans? For the most part, racism. Mexican repatriation was solely based on the ethnic and racial backgrounds of its victims. The purpose of repatriation was simply to remove people of Mexican ancestry from the United States, and the excuses given were meant to play on people's desperation during the massive economic catastrophe that was the Great Depression. And the success of the repatriation program during this time was so extensive to the point where experts today actually classify Mexican repatriation as an ethnic cleansing. And this ethnic cleansing was justified under the excuse that Mexicans were stealing financial assistance and jobs from real Americans, as President Hoover put it. As a matter of fact, we know that this was solely based on racism. Because in places like Los Angeles County, where the city council addressed the deportations being undertaken in the city, through memos with the Board of Supervisors simply replied by saying, this isn't about constitutional validity, it's about their skin. And one could further make the argument that repatriation was solely based on racism simply by looking at the mechanisms that were used for repatriation. Oftentimes, there was no distinction made between illegal Mexican immigrants, legal Mexican immigrants, and U.S. citizens of Mexican descent. And let's actually talk about the mechanisms for repatriation. The mechanisms for repatriation revolved around creating a climate of fear for Mexicans. The formula used for Mexican repatriation was lure, persuade, coerce. Initially, the implementation of repatriation was undertaken by creating an environment where Mexicans felt they could no longer live in the United States. This was an attempt to try to force Mexican immigrants to voluntarily repatriate back to Mexico. When the stock market crashed in 1929, Mexicans were usually the first to be laid off. Some states and local governments began to pass laws which required that all public employees be American citizens. Employers also faced fines should they hire immigrants. And although these fines weren't often enforced, it gave employers an excuse that they could give Mexicans applying for employment as to why they could not be hired. Often companies like Ford, U.S. Steel, and Southern Pacific Railroad colluded with local governments and laid off a majority of their Mexican workforce. The now unemployed Mexicans would then be offered reduced rate train tickets or other assistance with the goal of trying to get them to return to Mexico. Mexicans who managed to stick it out and resist early attempts at repatriation, or these early attempts at voluntary repatriation, often faced verbal harassment or physical assault. In 1932 in Detroit, a Mexican national complained that he was even forced by local police to a train station. They had hoped to physically force him to leave the country, despite the fact that he had already proved his legal residency a year prior. In fact, Mexican consulates across the United States reported complaints of verbal harassment as well as physical assault against Mexicans who resisted repatriation. Secretary of Labor William Doak ran a campaign to remove 500,000 foreigners from the United States. Doak's campaign involved monitoring labor protests or farm strikes. Protesters at these events would then be labeled as subversive individuals, communists, or radicals. Oftentimes, people at these events would then be charged with being illegal immigrants or with engaging in illegal activity and thus making them subject to deportation. In places like Los Angeles, California, local law enforcement would work with federal officers. They would raid public places in predominantly Hispanic communities. And as mentioned, oftentimes there was no distinction made between immigrants, either legal or illegal, and American citizens of Mexican descent. If you looked Mexican, if you spoke Spanish, if you had a Mexican name, you were at risk of being repatriated during one of these raids. And oftentimes, Mexicans that were apprehended for the purpose of repatriation were not informed of their rights. Oftentimes, immigration inspectors played the role of accuser, judge, and jury for the individuals that were being repatriated. And oftentimes these people were not made aware of their rights, so they didn't have the ability to speak to an immigration attorney. Those who did request to speak to an attorney often didn't get the opportunity to, because whether or not these people had access to representation was at the discretion of the immigration inspectors dealing with their case. This process was likely in violation of these people's Fourth Amendment rights, as well as the right to due process. Many Mexicans who were not technically deported by the government and instead were given the opportunity to self-repatriate were often misled. Their self-deportation meant that oftentimes they would be allowed to re-enter the United States at a later time. But in order to prevent that, they were misled into receiving a stamp on their green card, which showed that they had been county charities. This ensured that they would be denied readmission into the United States if they ever tried to come back at a later time, since they would be considered a public charge. The goal here was to remove as many Mexicans as possible and ensure they could not return. It is estimated that between 1929 and 1936, 2 million Mexicans were repatriated. 60% of those people were natural-born American citizens. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever know the true number of people that were affected. Many of the repatriations were not undertaken in an official manner. Oftentimes, people were not even told that they could request a trial. For some of these deportations, there's absolutely no record of them, because these people were coerced into voluntarily leaving. So here's the thing though, with so many people having been illegally deported, so many American citizens having their rights violated, with such a large ethnic cleansing occurring during one of the most talked about economic recessions in this country, why is it that you've never heard of this? In 2006, a survey of the 9 most commonly used American history textbooks in the United States found that 4 of those books did not mention Mexican repatriation once. Only 1 of those 9 books devoted more than half a page to the topic. Combined, only about 4 pages of information was devoted to Mexican repatriation. By comparison, about 18 pages were devoted to the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. It's as if this period in history of Mexican Americans and Mexican immigrants is being swept under the rug. However, it doesn't have to be. We can talk about it. We can talk about it the way I'm talking about it. Simply because our educational system doesn't teach this doesn't mean that we can't learn about this ourselves and then go teach it to the next generation, to our own kids, our nephews, our grandkids. We can keep these stories alive, and as a matter of fact, it is our responsibility to keep this story alive. If we don't learn from history, it is doomed to repeat itself. The truth is that we can't learn from the past that we've never been taught to begin with. Already we see the echoes of this past through the actions of the current administration. When talking about repatriation to Congress, President Herbert Hoover stated, "As we speak tonight, we are removing gang members, drug dealers, and criminals that threaten our communities."
Who sounded just like that? They're drugs dealers, gang members, rapists, and some of them might be good people. So again, the brother, check it out, man. Check out his channel. I think it's interesting. Hopefully he's still doing videos, man. And that's all I got. The dude didn't hit the link, so he's probably just one of those window shoppers and shit. He wants to say stuff. If he says he's all about his own people, I mean, I got nothing against East Africans, you know what I mean? Because there is a possibility that we mix with them, but you come in with a West African attitude, so you're not an East African. I can tell you're a Canaanite. I can tell. Just the way you communicate. Because the East African people that I spoke to, they don't talk like you. But see, if I'm so easy to defeat, then hit the link. That's all you got to do. And I already showed my DNA, caca. So, you know what I'm saying? Unless you got yours done and you can prove that you're from East Africa. Because, you know what I mean? Like, we can use the Bible and history. I can go everywhere with you. It don't mean nothing. It's just a book. It's just history. But I've proven that, you know what I'm saying? I got some clout over there. So I don't give a hell what you say. Because You've been here for what, 30 minutes, and you have not hit the link, but you still keep posting. And I'm familiar with people like you. You're weak. You got no huevos. Your lady probably left you, and you're mad because a Hispanic took your girl. That's probably what it is. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Family, love y'all very much, man. Appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully, it was edifying. Again, we're trying to determine, because I was asked, who's Edom? Who's Edom? Are they the white people? Well, let's find out. Let's see what they worship, and then we can determine if they're who they say they are. And I think we've proven it. So anyways, y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all next week. More likely, I will throw a class in between. But again, I got some stuff going on at the house. Y'all know, brothers, you know what's going on. I got to be very cautious, man. I don't want to lose my son. I'll say it like that. Have a good night.
Estamos aquí, oye, que estamos aquí. Mírame, estamos aquí. Desde hace rato, cuando ustedes llegaron, ya estaban las huellas de nuestros zapatos. Se robaron hasta la comida de gato y todavía se están lamiendo el plato. Bien encabronados con estos ingratos. Hoy le doy duro a los tambores hasta que me acusen de maltrato. Si no entiendes el dato, pues te lo tiro en cumbia, bossa nova, tango o vallenato. A lo calaboy y bambú, bien frontú, con sangre caliente como Timbuktu. Estamos dentro del menú. Tupac se llama Tupac por Tupac Amaru del Perú. América no es solo USA, papá. Esto es desde Tierra del Fuego hasta Canadá. Hay que ser bien bruto, bien hueco. Es como decir que África es solo Marruecos. Estos canallas se les olvidó que el calendario que usan se lo inventaron los mayas con la Valdivia precolombina. Desde hace tiempo, este continente camina, pero ni con toda la marina pueden sacar de la vitrina la peste campesina. Esto va para el capataz de la empresa. El machete no es solo para cortar caña, también es para cortar cabeza.
Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerde. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerde. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. 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 Te muerde, te muerde.
Los paramilitares, las guerrillas, los hijos del conflicto, las pandillas, las listas negras, los falsos positivos, los periodistas asesinados, los desaparecidos, los narcogobiernos, todos los que robaron, los que se manifiestan y los que se olvidaron, las persecuciones, los golpes de estado, el país en quiebra, los exiliados, el peso devaluado, el tráfico de droga, los carteles, las invasiones, los emigrantes sin papeles, 5 presidentes en 11 días, disparo a quemarropa por parte de la policía, más de 100 años de tortura, la nova trova cantando en plena dictadura. Somos la sangre que sopla la presión atmosférica. Gambino, mi hermano, esto sí es América.
Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerde. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerde. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Si quieres mi
Muero porque toques el cielo, pero no el suelo, así que créetelo. Quítate el velo velozmente, bro. Vívete tu sueño, pero despierta a la hora que toca. Esa hora, motherfucker, wake up.
Yo me meo en tu cubata antes bebo matar ratas con tan. Vaya al bosque a lo Tarzán mientras enlazan. Fraternidad en casa con su polo colistera a estrenar. Se han dejado en el desván de su pensar un mar de ideas. Son grandes ideas ardiendo en chimeneas antiguas. Ríe Dios al ver que te santiguas. Su mente y su luz son ambiguas como mi voz. Lo que para ti es un don, para mí una misión fija. Mis versos son de ninja, tu poesía pa' pijas. Que no te fijan, caen más allá del cristal. La matriz hipnotiza. Mi energía os hace trizas. Yo en mi nave nodriza, comiendo pizza con piña, moldeo taroides, vórtices. Con mi mente arborescente, junto con Isis y Milos para crear pegasos en ese perro. Cánticos lemurianos me hacen sentir como en mi hogar. La noche se avecina y se afilan colmillos de vampiras psíquicas. Frecuencias del malestar las alimentan. Nuestro deber es tenerlas raquíticas. Bazooka espacial enlatada con la función del sol central, causando desinformaciones bíblicas. Todo lo existente es relativo, o al menos la materia que te describo. Soy antipersonas como las minas y mino. La moral del que venga a negar lo que digo con la mira puesta en su ombligo. Si me retiro del partido que sea como Figo, conocidos en me la pela en verdad. Si en mi barrio me conocen más que tú a tu enamorada. No hay payasos, solo en anémonas. Gárgola Andrómeda eres. Conserva tus células primigenias o no podrás volar. El virus se llevó a unos cuantos, pero elevó a más. Elevó el más a la opulencia. Digo, ¿quién te ande bajo el Satanás en el espejo? Jesucristo, la conciencia del flash. La tierra y su paz están vibrando. Los sentimientos son la trampa que están manejando. Los hilos de los cuales tú y tu ego estáis medio colgando. No es que yo sea un superdotado, ni tú un tonto. Solo lo que tú sabes de mierda yo sobre el cosmos. Que lo estudio y profundamente sano me lo tomo. Si no ya hubiera ido a visitar al doctor, porque no soy devoto, mucho menos un santo. Yo jamás puedo, pero dale que asalto. Cuando en verdad sé que tendría que sudarme todo la polla, pero pienso que hay que vivir por algo. Que en el letargo cure lo enfermo. Sabor amargo, remedio eterno. Me pregunto a toda esa gente que le he hecho y canalizo desde el cielo un verbo así hecho, bro.
Ical, hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.